Yeah, like
they
would
outsourced the frame specifically.
Yeah,
the
like
voice
they would
acting and storyboarding here.
exactly,
Cool.
and they would just ship it out and be like, "This is the episode," and they'd animate it and then send it back and air it. Which is pretty crazy.
Wait, what was in Korea?
King of the Hill was animated in Korea, like the whole show.
Wow.
Yeah, they would storyboard it and then
Why so? Just because it was
just cheaper, I guess. I don't know. They were just like,
weird.
well, like we're gonna spend all the time writing and doing the voice acting, and then like they probably just like found some little loophole or deal where like, oh, if we just send it over there.
There's no way that'd be the case now. South Korea is just one giant city. It would have that has to be like a thing of the past.
Yeah.
That's not a cheap trick life hack you can do anymore.
No.
I don't think.
Yeah.
You can
90s
get it.
Fox was different.
Yeah.
just hire somebody on Fiverr.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Animate the show real
animate
quick.
your network television show. That'd be a good concept.
Oh yeah,
Why don't you
This-
think of that for music videos? Just
completely on
animators.
Fiverr.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
video was made completely by Fiverr.
It's got it. Like animation, maybe not, but that at least to some degree has to have happened. But it'd be cool to see that, like they did with that Van Gogh movie, where like an artist painted like a different frame for the whole thing, but like do that for like a video or like a whole.
Well, that's really expensive.
It was, yeah. That's like the extreme version where you
They
pay
painted a
like,
different frame for each.
for like each still of this like movie about Van Gogh. I don't know exactly what it
Oh,
was,
gotcha.
but it's like
artists do each frame.
yeah, and I don't even know if they ever finished it or like what the deal is with it. But
Oh,
I remember
it
like
won-
reading an
it
article
was-
about it back in the day.
I don't know if it was on the Oscars because I'm not an expert in that stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember it winning a lot of awards.
Mm.
because
Did you
people
guys
were
go to
like-
that Van Gogh museum,
No, the one that was at the
Wisconsin
V1.
Center?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
the one.
Yeah.
No,
the
and we
one.
missed
I didn't
out on
see it,
going
though.
to the one in Amsterdam too. We didn't end up making it. It was closed the day we went. Remember, we walked all the way. We walked all the way to the Van Gogh Museum.
You told me about a story of you in Amsterdam
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, we had a silly
Yeah.
silly time. It was
Yeah.
already 2018, a long time ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
2018. Yeah. Yeah.
Good time to go, I guess.
How
with
long
what
were you there?
happened.
Were you just in Amsterdam or were you?
We hit Paris too.
Paris
It was a
and
very
Amsterdam.
short trip with like
10 days, 5
yeah.
days in each.
yeah.
Damn.
I feel like it was even less in
Yeah.
Paris. We were like there for like 3
That's
days.
a pretty good trip, though.
Yeah.
Well, we had
Yeah.
2 train days, basically.
Yeah, it was a lot of
So
traveling
it was like
days.
4 days of no trains.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then 2 of the days were like taking this 2-hour train ride. And then like from the Paris train station, remember our Airbnb was like a 90-minute walk
Yeah.
from the train station. And
Wait,
it was like definitely.
It took you 2 days to get from one city to the
No, I
other?
just mean on 2 different days because we went.
Oh, I
we went
see.
from Paris to or Amsterdam to Paris, and
Yep.
then that was a whole affair. We had to basically walk to the train station from our hostel, which took
Yeah.
a long time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we got lost in the station, and then we had like a 2-hour train ride, and then we had a 90-minute walk from our train station to our Airbnb in Paris, and then it was dinner time,
Yep.
and then afterwards it was like, okay,
Yeah.
going to bed. So I feel like that cut out some.
Here,
of the
get a
time.
little closer to the mic
Oh,
when you
my
talk
bad.
here. You can move this. Do you want me to give you
Yeah,
some?
might yank this.
Yeah, I've just like positioned it in a way that just I have to do it.
There we
You
go.
have to talk close.
There we go. Yeah, we like the ASMR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the perfect pop. It's the perfect pop.
This is from the land of clear blue waters, I should hope.
Yeah.
Just
The land.
should hope so.
I'm going to Amsterdam in April.
Nice.
End of April. Yeah.
Tight.
You know,
It's- I was just gonna say, it's so visually entertaining. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you.
oh, I'm stoked. I've been there twice before.
Oh, cool.
It got cut short a little bit because I was over there like right when the world was shutting down, and that
Dang.
was really crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, really excited. Amsterdam through Spain, maybe stop in Luxembourg through Spain, France, or no, Amsterdam, Luxembourg, France, Spain, and then out of Lisbon.
Wow.
Doing
so
a big old trip.
That is a
Like
big
3
old
weeks-
trip.
Yeah,
2
I'm
weeks, 3
excited.
weeks, or
3
just
weeks.
3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
really
that's good.
excited.
I really got to hit Spain. I hear it like never goes to sleep, and everybody eats dinner at 11 p.m.
Sure, right?
And
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a crazy time.
Funny enough,
I'm excited to go.
the opposite is so for Amsterdam. We were very surprised at how dead the city gets. Like Milwaukee is like way more lively at night. than that. Yeah, like
no,
I
really?
mean, not like
Oh, yeah,
lively
well,
in a way. Like
it's,
the
everybody
crazier
has a
st-
bedtime. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's like since
Yeah.
everything is legal and available, and there's no real taboo for just being a silly willy. It's like 5 p.m. or the end of the workday rolls around for them, and it's just like immediately time to be silly, and then everyone's tuckered out at 11 p.m. and last call is 11:30 at every single bar, and then by 12:15 it's just crickets on the street. I mean, we would frequently walk home from our hostel and be
Yeah.
like, some of the last people
What?
in
Yeah.
Amsterdam. Like
Yeah.
we walked home to silent.
Do you remember
streets
where
every
you were
night. Like,
staying in
where's the
Amsterdam?
party? We were like 2 blocks from the what is it called? It's the big mall, like the Grand. We were right by the Rijkspalace. We were right by the big like phallic white statue thing that's in the middle of the city.
Because my brother lives in Amsterdam and he's
Oh, wow.
always pulling. He's going. to
Well, I'm
some-
sure if you've got friends
If you
and
know,
connections,
yeah.
there's house parties.
That's
But
like
at
everywhere
all
too, you know?
businesses,
Yeah.
There, you won't find a single bar open after
Yeah.
midnight.
I really like the Vondelpark. Vondelpark.
Vindelpark.
That's
This is giving me flashbacks to that map.
Oost. Travel Oost.
Zwede.
This park right here I really like. It's really cool.
Let's see. So we were about a 30-minute. We were really close to the. Canal
Which canal?
or the channel. I mean.
Adam, look out.
Oh, okay. So over here.
And
Adam, look out.
Adam.
well, I just
Adam,
can't remember the
look
name of the big
out.
mall. It's like a fancy-looking mall, and we were within eyeshot.
Okay.
It was
Nice.
called something Plaza.
Were we in Ooster Park? Was that where we were?
That's where we tried. That's where we like needed
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do.
Yes.
Easter Park.
This story is coming back to me. What you told.
Yeah, just if
That's
you're
so
gonna
funny.
indulge in things that are signature to Amsterdam, just make sure you have a game plan beforehand.
I forgot about the red
Oh,
light
yes.
district completely, even, and
So,
then like we just
you're-
I
walked
hear
through
it's
it.
not even like anything crazy.
It's not that
anymore.
crazy,
They
but
kind of
it-
cracked
I-
down on
It
it.
was
Yeah.
under the situation. Oh, they've cracked down on it.
Well, it's so touristy now, and
Very much so. Yeah.
It was very rated NC-17 when we went, for sure.
NC what?
NC-17. You couldn't just, if you were a grade schooler, you couldn't just get a ticket to a movie about the red light district.
Like you had to be carded.
Well, we could just walk in
Or-
it if you were there. I just mean there were a lot of naked people everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing to do is just to sit on the canal, hang out, and then just like watch like people go in and just see what happens. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
They
there's like
apparently hate. I do
Yeah.
want to point that out. I didn't know while we were there because we were just doing as everybody else around us did,
Yeah.
which is like get a bag of popcorn and sit and watch like rich guys patronize the
Yep.
establishments up and down the strip. And then I come back and I told the story and they're like, haha, yeah, that's a classic move. But did you know that they like really hate that? And I was like, really? And they're like,
They
yeah.
hate when
You're generating no money. You're discouraging. You're making people feel embarrassed to go. Like everybody always points and goes like, "Woo!"
well, because sometimes they're like people just drunkenly and blatantly break the rules and like take flash photos or just do stupid stuff, and they
Yep.
like throw water on them and yell at them and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it is like an insane zany strip. Like it's hard to not just sit and be like, wow, where am I?
Until last call, it is a rager every night. I swear.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. When I was there, I went to the red light district just to go and check it out.
Yeah.
And there was a movie theater kind of thing that me and my brother, he's like, we got to do this. Just like while you're in Amsterdam. And you
Yeah.
walk in and there's like a booth that like there's doors all around the cylinder. So there's like little telephone
Okay,
booths
yeah.
that are locked unless you put a little euro in. Or actually, you open the door. It's this dark room. Me and my brother are in the same one. It was more for the bit and just like to
Right.
see what
That's all
this
Amsterdam
was.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Just the
right.
bit.
It's the bit.
It is the bit. We went to the torture museum.
Yeah.
You put a little euro inside and the screen pops up and then there's 2 people on a spinning thing having sex.
Oh, nice.
Like, whoa.
Damn.
Okay.
yeah, that's way
That's-
cooler than
that's
anything we
there.
did. Yeah.
Like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I mean the windows of the red light district at night were the peep show for sure. But you know, like I said, we took off into Amsterdam without any planning and ended up upon the red light district like accidentally. And it was like right around when things were starting to pick up business wise. And you know, the main street is a little more regulated, but then the side streets are like your less probably financially successful establishments that are sort of need those bend the rules deals to work.
Yep.
And they definitely have their workers like out in the street interacting with people.
Yeah.
And like
it feels like a
talking to
Ren
them.
fair.
Yeah, it was like a Ren fair if
Yeah.
everybody was only in panties.
Yeah.
And, like And it was definitely like one of those culture shock moments because you don't want to look or like stare or like
Right.
point or
Yeah.
like
Right.
even really acknowledge to one another that anything's off. So you're like, yes, Wednesday.
Yeah.
I travel.
I'm a
Culture.
local.
I'm a worldly citizen. I'm not from the Midwest. This is normal.
This is completely normal. I feel that. Super hard. Well, hell yeah, guys. Well,
do you up your drip when you go to Europe? By the way,
I feel that I usually up my drip when I come back. Is
Oh
what
yeah,
usually
yeah.
happens.
It's like a wave. Like it hits you
Yeah.
like jet lag. You're like, damn, they looked good. Like
Yeah.
I gotta do this here.
I'm so European now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we went, we basically showed up in like safari clothes. I mean, we looked terrible. We downgraded our drip. We brought travel clothes, like if you were going to visit your grandma.
You're like a painter's
Yeah,
hoodie,
yeah.
and like cargos. like what?
Like
Sticking
zip up hoodie,
out. Yep.
unshaven off the plane, getting in
Yep.
and realizing this is a country of people who are like by and large very beautiful up and down.
Negative swag.
Did you guys go to the thrift stores in Amsterdam?
Oh yeah,
No. Did we?
Insane.
we went to a lot. We went to any record related.
Yeah, I did go to
Thrifty.
record store.
Okay.
And there are some really cool
Super cool stuff.
pop-ups.
Super cool.
I don't know what you would call it. It's like someone's living room where they have a bunch of crates.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and like it'd be like
Interesting.
windows open with people just hanging out up above on like the second floor. Yeah, the street design's pretty wild.
Remember
Yep.
we saw a guy passed out face down in his doorway, like
Yeah.
door open.
Yeah,
and
like-
it was like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's-
and he was just
That's
face
Jim Bob.
planted.
Hey, you know,
Like he
that's
made it
what he
home
does.
and
Yeah.
just passed out
Yeah,
without
we were
closing
just
the
walking
Get it
by,
door.
we were
early.
like,
Turning it.
should we check on him? Oh, probably speaks Dutch. Well, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well,
So did you guys-
Luxembourg. I'm sorry not to cut you off.
Oh no! Did you
but
guys
that-
up your fashion game after
went
you
down.
saying? Oh, you're saying
We like I said, I brought like I'm going to grandma's house to like help her with chores clothes. And it was like
Cleaning
people,
out the
people
attic.
looked at us like we were ugly. I mean, I won't lie. Like, we got lots of
back.
looks. We got lots of looks of like
American.
yeah. We got several just like whoa like
Yep. Yeah.
because everyone's so fashionable and they all drink beer at 10 a.m. with 6-pack abs.
Yeah.
Beer,
And-
some wine and a cigarette. Oh my
Yeah.
God! Have you guys seen that Nick Kroll European thing?
I don't think so.
Oh
Maybe.
my God, this is so funny. Me and my girlfriend watch this all the time. I'll pull it up. But yeah, Luxembourg is gonna be really cool. I'm excited for that. Kind of random and strange. My girlfriend went to a summer camp with this girl named Kate Barrett, and her dad is a Tom Barrett, and he used to be the mayor of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I know Tom.
And he is now Tom, and he is
Oh,
now
Tom.
the like in politics in Luxembourg. He got
Tom Barrett
transferred.
is?
Yeah, he's the ambassador.
Oh yeah, I did hear
Something?
that.
He got upgraded. Like
He
they
upped his drip.
They came and got him.
He upped his drip.
He upped the drip.
And we might be staying with Tom Barrett and
Whoa.
in a castle in Luxembourg for like
Oh.
2 days.
That's
That's
the most.
wild.
That is the most
Super
like
random.
we need. What? No, it's not the most anything I've ever heard of. You get promoted from mayor of Milwaukee to castle of Luxembourg.
That's just
I'll
like
take it.
I bet it's going to
Oh,
be
I think I have
expensive.
seen this.
Not to
The
be a
haircut
downer,
looks familiar.
but I imagine Luxembourg to be an expensive place.
The name kind of like insists upon itself.
I think it's the wealthiest country in the world, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably Luxembourg.
So bring bread because
Yeah.
I know in
Bring drip.
I know in
Yeah.
Switzerland it can be like 10 euros for a loaf of bread, but everybody makes a lot of money in Switzerland. So except
True.
you
Switzerland is
visiting
expensive.
Switzerland. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just feel Luxembourg.
Amsterdam is looking pretty expensive too. Like looking at hostels and stuff.
You got to go to the bogus ass places that are like half underground, like we went to.
Well, watch this video from the Spotted Ox Hostel, the coolest hostel in all the countries in Europe. For breakfast, we'll do something cool, like have a cigarette and like a bar of chocolate. Then we go for work for like 1/2 hour to an hour. And then we go for lunch. And lunch is usually, something cool, like a cigarette and like 2-3 bottles of red wine.
Waffle.
Heavy cream. And then dinner, we'll do something healthy, like 4-5 sausage, cigarette, and then we'll invite our cigarette outside to take an espresso and watch the street life. And we so much can eat as much as we want, and we never get heavy because of olive oil. So that's what we say.
Yeah, that's something.
That was it.
Yeah, we didn't even need to have that whole
It is.
conversation.
Yeah.
You just said, oh, you went to
He covered
Europe?
it,
Was
yeah.
it like this?
That summed it up.
Prepares me.
You
I
can just
know,
cut to that part.
I know
when you
everything I
edit it.
need from the Hostel. Hostel.
Oh, yeah. Should we go back and post and record an introduction, and it can be really awkwardly cut in
Yeah.
Yeah.
afterwards?
Hey,
just fake laughter or something,
Everyone's
and
already
do it
had
in
3
sitcom
beers,
mode.
and then it cuts
Well,
back to 0
Yeah.
beers.
It's
This
like
is
the
the Milwaukee band Spoy, everybody. And what would you describe your genre?
That's the question that we
I
get.
I always say like math rock for some reason.
Yeah.
Is that,
That works.
is that
That works.
accurate?
Yeah.
If you
I
were
think
to
it's,
send somebody to us and they had math rock in mind,
Grungy math rock?
Yeah.
I usually just use whatever, like if we like play a show or something and someone like comes up and tells me like, oh, I like that. That was kind of like this. Like they just make up like a genre or something. I usually just say that when someone,
Sure.
like the next time someone asks, I'll just like pull that from my head and be like this one guy said indie pop grindcore at a show we played in Chicago. And I was like, I don't even know if I agree
Yeah.
with that, but that's a really cool genre name.
Yo,
So I'm going to use that for like 3 months.
that's
just
that.
kind of ride it out.
yeah, like
all
Matt,
the right words put
Yeah.
together.
Matt Wild from the Milwaukee Record called it Skronk. So we were,
Skronk.
yeah, so we were
Yeah.
using that for a while.
You're skronky.
Skronk.
Yeah,
it's
like a
That's
real
super
word.
Sick.
Yeah, apparently it's one of those genres only Matt Wild would know about.
Skronk. I
Yeah.
met
Yeah.
Matt Wild recently.
Nice
yeah,
man.
Yeah, very nice man.
Very-
Skronk.
Skronky.
And I just took it. I was like,
Emperor's
for
New
sure.
Groove.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Gotten
Skronk.
it's goblin rock or
Yeah.
Goblin
core.
rock. Yeah, that could
Frog
definitely
metal.
work.
Frog
for
metal.
Sure. Frog metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Lizard
those.
Lounge music.
Yeah.
Lizard Lounge. is
Lizard
good.
Lounge.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basker
You should write
Bossa
these
Nova.
down. He's like, yeah.
Well, and if I were to turn the question outward, to not just the band, that's one of the things I do like about this city is that you get so many genres on a bill at a time. It starts to feel like the labels become like more and more irrelevant. Like the weirder and weirder shows get booked here.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
literally never know what you're gonna get on a night of Milwaukee music. There's no promoters in the scene curating these events or doing
Right.
like the other planning you would see in maybe Memphis or Nashville or I don't know why I said Memphis. I meant Nashville or LA or whatever.
Same thing.
Those cities are way more organized. So this is
Yeah.
just like people reaching out to one another and being like, "Hey, I gotta. These guys are letting me play my music in their room. So do you guys want to come and do it too?" I just feel
Yeah.
like you get just a much crazier blend that
Yeah.
way than if somebody were like sort of trying to puppet master the gig from the top
Right.
down.
Right.
Yeah. You get
That-
like some really interesting stuff.
Diawa.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because
Yeah.
and like even in our little River West world, you've got a lot of diversity of acts. Like
Totally.
like some like specifics. I always think of like Windy, who plays with a lot of the rock bands.
Yeah.
And is like pretty
Windy.
much down to play any show.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
always feel
I've
like
seen their name on a lot.
Yeah.
In like Bad Weather. Is that the same Windy Bad Weather?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I just know they play a lot of like it's like more like solo sort of like electronic hyper rap sort of, style. And
yeah.
but I've seen them on every kind of bill.
Uh-huh.
And I just feel like we wouldn't get that if the musicians themselves didn't have so much influence over what got played around here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Very
Then you
insulated.
got like the Speakeasy Johnsons who are doing like a funk kind of groove thing, like Shout Bells too, and
Yeah.
River West here. I'm trying to think of some other River West groups. Would you guys consider yourself River West? You
Yes.
practice in River West.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
So
true.
maybe.
we've
The
all lived here
origins.
at various points.
Yeah. But I guess most of us are on the east side now. But I guess, yeah, we have been a functioning band in River West for most of it. So,
Yeah, we've never
Yeah.
practiced anywhere else as this band, really. So
yeah.
We always love our shows at High Dive.
True.
Yeah, High
Have
Dive
yet
is
to
a-
play at High Dive.
It's I don't like to play favorites, I guess, but they just always have a really great atmosphere there.
yeah,
And there's just they got a lot of regulars. They have a pretty
Yeah,
established
good spill in.
like people know there's
Yeah.
going to be music there
Yeah.
a lot. So
Yeah.
their rate of just having people in the bar to watch you play music is like higher than the other dive bars. And I mean, hey, That's
oh yeah.
great.
Every time when it's warm
Yeah.
and if I'm walking to Mad Planet or something and I pass by, it's always like
Yeah.
just like spilling out into
Yeah.
the street.
It's
Yeah.
a great
Literally.
little symbiosis too, because so many people quit the line at Mad Planet and just see whatever's going on at High Dive.
true.
It's very much like, oh, we have Mad Planet at home. Mad Planet at home happens
Yeah.
to be High Dive right across the street.
Yep. When the line is a little bit too long at Mad Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I won't lie. I've played myself. I've waited 90 minutes in a Mad Planet line before. It's like
I
every
waited
ti-
a
every
good
time I
amount of
do,
time
I'm
for
looking at
sure.
everybody with their beer and listening to the music across the street, and
Yeah.
it's like,
That could be me.
yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like I'm out in the rain looking inside.
Yeah. The club is bumping.
Yeah.
You got to get into the club.
No, man.
I feel like everyone's been stuck in the Mad Planet line. It's just it's a Milwaukee rite of passage, honestly.
Yeah.
Rite of passage, that's for sure.
Well, if you're a River West person too, the other rite of passage is being mad when you go to Mad Planet at nights. Other people want to go too. And you're like, oh, you don't even live
you can't
in
even
River
get
West,
in.
dude. Why are you at a River West establishment?
You had the
So
drive to get here. I walked.
Yeah.
Well, you showed up at 9. I'm trying to get in right away at midnight. What's happening?
I have thought about jumping over that back fence a few
Oh,
times.
every time, every single time, and I'm like,
Pretty
oh.
accessible.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like
I don't know
you would
if I
just look
would.
so stupid if you got caught. And they have
Just like plop down.
they
They'll
always
walk
have
you
a
out
guy-
the door through everybody too.
Yeah, like the
Hand on your neck.
one of like the bouncers is like on their sig break as you're like jumping over the thing and you like fall
Yeah.
and like sprain your ankle. And, like,
Well, that's
sorry.
what I was gonna say. They give a guy outside a cigarette that never goes out, and he sits there for like at least he
Yeah.
sits there through the whole
Yeah.
night, and there's no way. Every time I'm always thinking about the guy, just like, and he would probably just be like,
The
and he would
security-
like signal for me
Yeah.
to climb the fence again and go.
How
back
long do you
where
have to
I
work
came.
there to get the permasig?
The permasig.
It's like a PTO rite of passage. Like 1 year and you get the.
I think it
you
comes
get
with
the
your
8-hour cigarette.
I think it comes with your silk shirt.
Yeah.
Like the
With
staff
your-
will wear like the paisley silk shirts, and I feel like that's when you get the eternal cigarette.
Yeah.
My cousin found a Mad Planet employee staff shirt at Goodwill.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good
Kind of
find.
cool
Apparently
tag.
they're pretty rare.
Damn.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
hard to find.
Local
it looks like the
old
people who
vintage.
work there have been
Vintage.
working there, so they probably don't have much turnover.
My
Yeah.
mom went to UWM and she came in one night with a bunch of her girlfriends that she went to college with, and I was with them, and she's like, "Oh my god, that DJ used to DJ back in the 90s."
Man.
And so they were giving song requests all night long.
Yeah, it
and
is
all
like
that
a
fun
really
stuff.
diverse crowd, like age-wise. Is like
Oh yeah, I think
all
it's the
types of
best
people.
bar,
Yeah.
best dancing bar in
yeah,
Milwaukee.
every which way it's a melting pot. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure the DJ has just the sweetest gig. Like for a long time, my mother had a gig like that where she did club DJing like just on the weekends, and then she could
Yeah.
do the rest of her life differently. And but she, you make a lot of tips and like I don't know, it was good money and like just weekend party job.
Wow. Does
And,
your mom still DJ?
No, she did it for like 11 or 12 years through her teens and up to like 30.
Cool.
Yeah. But she always said that like anytime it comes up, she always says that the long-standing club DJs do have pretty sweet gigs because it's like just consistent income, and if you're good at your job, it's just like hundreds of people dancing to your
Yeah.
music choices,
Yeah.
like week in week out.
Totally.
Pretty good. If you're just like if you got a regular job and that's your involvement with music, that's got to be like a pretty primo setup.
Yeah.
Club lord.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any advertising
Yeah,
for
you're,
the
you're like
show.
pre-installed. You know, your fan
Yup.
base is pre-installed.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
People
you
that
have-
want to just bounce around and hit the unts.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. People are coming to dance already, so
Right.
they're
Yeah.
they're already hyped.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's pretty rocking. Definitely one of those things where I guess if you do it, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
I'm thinking about playing at Mad Planet some night.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised they
They do
honestly
book.
they do a
book.
little
Yeah.
bit, but I'm surprised they don't do more because they'll like their regular nights are just nothing.
Yeah.
Like they'll just have like music on the loudspeaker and people
Yeah.
can kind of mill around, but
Yep.
I feel like they're kind of missing out. Maybe they have a
Yeah.
deal with High Dive. The owners
Yeah.
like, please, bro.
That's a great place to see a
Just
show,
chill.
though.
Yeah.
I've been to a few shows there, and they've always been
At
like
Mad Planet?
really, yeah.
Nice.
It's Kikagaku Moyo.
Oh.
They're like a Japanese psych rock band.
Hell yeah.
That was really sick.
That sounds mad.
Yeah.
Acid
Yeah.
Out
Mother's
of
Temple
this
is
mad.
coming to Milwaukee this year. That'd be cool. to
That'd be
see.
tight.
I saw an 80s cover band at Mad Planet a few weeks ago, and they were sick as hell.
Was it just like all types of 80s songs, or was it like a Billy Joel
It
thing?
was like 80s rock, all types.
Only
I don't
the
think it
90s
was. Yeah,
Only the 90s
for an 80
Joel.
for Billy Joel's cover band. We do strictly the 80s or whatever that was.
Snap back into it.
Piano Man.
Yeah. Yeah, they killed it though. And I forget the band name, but they're a little bit older, and they played the I think it was the goth. No, it wasn't goth prom, but it was like 80s prom at the Cooperage event, I think last weekend.
There was another
think
deal
so.
like that because I went to Mad Planet Goth Prom, but I didn't know there was a Cooperage event too.
Yeah, that was a separate prom kind of thing.
I just didn't
for
know that
both
was
of
in
them.
vogue right now, doing prog.
Going back to
themes.
prom.
themes.
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
The proms
Oh,
are in
yeah.
vogue.
That's a good theme.
Yeah.
Prom nights.
Yeah, well, it gives,
prom night.
it gives everybody
Yeah,
an
you just put
excuse
anything in front of
to either like dress up to the maximum or be like, yeah, this is how I wanted to dress at prom, and then just wear like
Now's my
flannel and
chance.
jeans. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still edgy. I
Yeah.
still don't care.
I just dress like this to hop over to high dive,
Yeah.
just like this.
The
Oh,
only
my.
difference is I actually went to prom this time.
Yeah.
Oh, can I hit this but not in
Oh
your
yeah,
mic?
yeah, you can.
We just saw an anti-vaping ad on YouTube.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I don't get
Unreal.
Those anymore. Can I hit that?
I mean,
Is that vape?
Yeah.
Can I hit that too?
Oh yeah.
If you
It's
wanna-
like the Call of Duty theme Pokemon cartridge vape. I don't know.
Edge breakers.
Elf Bar can't make up their mind on what they want their.
Oh, this
vapes
is
to
an
look
elf
like.
bar.
Looks like a
Supposedly.
Pokemon game.
That's what
Oh.
I'm saying. I don't know if it's like I don't
It's
know.
leaf green.
I don't know if it's the final Call of Duty camo you unlock, or if it's like if it's leaf green.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never seen the see-through elf bar.
No, and it's micro USB. And I was like, I asked Vape Man. I said, Vape Man, why did they downgrade the charger port? And he was like, Oh no, they got like a new diffuser mechanism that like atomizes alternatively, and like it's like prevents overclocking of the mechanism.
Rock and roll.
And I was like, what does
Made
that mean?
that
He's
up.
like, it charges better. And I
Does
was
it?
like,
Yeah.
all right, thanks,
So
man.
is it no longer the just the one that looks like it's over there on the table.
They got them all. Like those vape stores are like a Willy Wonka pop up store, but it's like just different kinds of soap.
Oh,
You know?
Oh, okay.
They
But,
just
like-
put a ban on them.
Yeah,
in
so like they got
Milwaukee.
Elf Bar, they got Evo Bar, they got Elf
He's not
Bar
opening
Ultra.
more.
They put a ban on the pop-up shop.
They put a ban on like opening up vape shops, like any more vape shops in some
Really?
subsect of Milwaukee. Yeah,
Wow.
there's like one more that opened up on like Farwell or something, like right off Brady. But that was like the last
Yeah.
one. But they were like,
In
no
that
more vape shops.
East Side
I
Brady
mean,
Street.
What's,
There's
what's
so
funny
many
is
vape-
none of them want to be open more than like 30 hours a week. And, you know, there's like 160 some hours in a week, and it really seems like each vape shop has like picked their hours based on what hours the other vape shops
Right.
aren't open.
Some
Because I've
friendly-
noticed the more recent vape stores have the wackiest hours that make no sense at all. And I'm like, the only way this makes
Rookie.
sense is if it's right now it's the only one.
Not enough
open.
LED signs.
Yeah.
Spot a rookie.
Like one of them's only
Yeah.
open after like 7. One of them opens up at like 2. One of the vape shops is open up at like 10 a.m. Like they're all over the place. And I'm like, this has to be some weird competitive strategy figuring out like what time of day people need their vapes.
Yep.
Like, are you a 3 a.m. walking home from Brady Vape, or are you on the way to the U.S. Bank office job need a vape?
Yeah, that
We got the vape for
Farwell
you.
Brady Street. There is I can think of 3 or 4 for sure.
There's Smoke Vape. There's Purple
5.
Haze. There's the one across from Smoke Vape.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one that's right. Just,
Yeah.
What, is that the
facing
one
each other.
across from Walgreens?
Yeah, Smoke Vape is
Yeah.
in the plaza with Walgreens, and then there's
Oh,
the one
in the
acro-
plaza.
Yeah,
Just
Oh, okay.
across
one-
the street one too.
Yeah,
which-
like Blue Dream or whatever. Like that's like right across from the one on Oakland, like by Wade's Guitar. And
well, that's another
Oh,
one.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
Knuckleheads
they're
are
right
yeah.
across. It's just funny. There's
Yeah.
equally blinding each
they're
other with their
literally
lights.
across from each other with Knuckleheads 2 blocks away. Autos sells vapes. We live in vape world for sure. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure it was like that in 1920 with cigarettes. Like
Oh,
you had,
oh my
you had
God, yeah.
newspaper
I mean, you're-
stands selling them. So
You could
Yeah.
get a freaking Basset Hound if you bought enough cigarettes. They were like doing such insane promotions with
is
cigarettes.
that a real example?
I don't know if it's a Basset Hound, but I think it might. What is Saint Bernard? Is that what Beethoven is?
Yeah, yeah.
The big
Saint
one?
Bernard,
Yeah, there's like a
Beethoven
you-
was
you-
a German.
You can maybe find it, but it's like a video of this guy's like, if you buy enough of blah blah cigarettes, you can have a puppy, and it's like him like petting a dog, and there's like these coupons you could get with a cigarette, and if you, it was like box tops for like adults that smoke, and like they're putting asbestos in like the filters and stuff. Like it was absolutely out of control.
I want a cigarette
unregulated.
Yeah, totally.
Chaos.
Imagine
how I
you tell
got
your kid no, like no puppy, and then your son goes through the garbage and like fills out all of your old cigarette cartons and like wins the Marlboro dog, even though you said no puppy for Christmas, and now you just have this Marlboro Saint Bernard in the house. That had to have happened at least once.
How many
Yeah.
people were just like so lazy with it and just so hooked to him that they just named it like Marb or Marlboro? Like
Yeah.
that's all Marlboro.
Marlboro.
The block was full of little Marbs running around.
Grab my cigarettes.
It has puppies, and you just name them all Marb again. Marb. Get tackled by 6 dogs.
Marbin.
Marvin.
Yeah. Marb, Marvin, Marbra.
Marby.
I'm just hyped for the robot vape dog that's gonna come out.
Hello.
The robot vape dog.
Yeah, you got me. You win. Craziest new thing. You got it.
Goddard.
What's the vape dog?
God,
No, I was just
That's the
saying
new
that
promotion.
that's what they're gonna give away
Oh.
with vapes. It's like a robot dog.
Yeah, you get iDog.
Yeah.
Like the one that the ears
Wah,
dance.
wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Arf, arf.
Pop the tunes on.
USB-C dog.
Yeah.
I was thinking that for like these vape stores that there was like a weird competition to get real estate for when weed becomes legal. Because a lot of these hemp
Yeah.
shops, hemp/vape shops are damn near.
I think that's why they exist.
Dispensaries
I mean, you're,
at this
you're in the
point.
industry. What are the what are they
Oh
saying?
yeah, you are in the industry.
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right. It's all people basically preparing to try and do that.
When do you think it will happen?
The tavern leagues here, I have no idea. We could be the
Yeah.
last state. It could be like, you know, who
Tavern
knows?
leagues are the funniest, most RPG element of our state. If you're not from Wisconsin, the word tavern league is literally going to be
Yeah, it's like
nothing to
Bubbler.
you.
Yeah.
It's like Bubbler. and I remember explaining to
I don't know what tavern league is.
Okay.
Oh wait, like a volleyball?
No,
kinda?
no, like
I wish.
that's what it should mean.
Oh, okay.
In reality, it's like I don't
Tavern
want to be
league.
quoted with a wrong number, but it's one of the top lobbies in Wisconsin.
It has to be.
Oh, it is. Like
Yeah.
it's in top 5
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. And they we're talking about groups that influence policymaking in Wisconsin, and these guys are immensely powerful. It's like a union because to get your license as a bar, you have to get permission from them. Like they've gotten that passed. Like, and they're the reason that liquor stores can't sell past 9 p.m. They're always lobbying against legal drinking limits.
So they've been around for a while.
This is Wisconsin. I mean, they were one of the first.
Tavern league.
Yeah, if this were Europe,
Booze league.
they'd call it a guild. But like it's like basically like an old-fashioned group of old guys who lobby for change in Wisconsin policy, but only based on alcohol sales in bars, specifically bars.
So basically, they hate weed.
They hate weed. They hate liquor stores. They hate grocery stores. So like, you know how Metro Market and you know how Shorewood has their city statute that lets grocery stores sell alcohol till 11?
Beer, just beer.
Yeah,
right?
that's like a big fight against Tavern League. Like that, like they have.
Is that just because they think that's the way it should be?
No, because after 9 p.m. is when like
Bars
prime time
open.
starts.
Yeah.
and
I
they
understand
want no
that. The
shift.
competition.
Right.
They don't want you to be able to like get off of your second shift job and go get a 6-pack of beer and like hang out at home. Like they want to push you into
Hit the
Brady
bar.
Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn in your check to the bartender.
And yeah, so weed, all the drunk driving policy. Like, you know, in Wisconsin, you used to be able to get something like 10 DUIs before you lost your license.
It was
forever.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
It's so funny.
9 in. Just made a mistake.
sorry. It was like your and like,
Won't happen again.
your ninth was something like a $4,500 fine
my
and 3 days in
God.
jail, and like you still had like you got your breathalyzer after 3. But now like Evers, that's been his primary push, and one of his primary pushes is drunk driving laws, which is kind of funny because I feel like I don't pay much attention to politics, but somebody said to me like, oh, you know, I think the legal limit's like 0.03 now. It's like less than half. Basically, if you have more than a beer 30 minutes ago and you drive,
Really?
like, you can
Did
get
that-
a full DUI.
Is that already in place?
Yep, and now it's 1
What?
DUI is immediate loss of license for 6 months. And
Breathalyzer probably.
it's
Like,
2.
2. Okay.
Two you hit breathalyzer,
Yeah.
but you serve
What
like
does that mean? Like breathalyzer? Like,
You
well, I know
put
what
it
a
in your
car,
breathalyzer is, but oh,
and, like,
put
every
one-
time you drive,
install
you have
it
to-
in.
Yeah.
I see. Yep. Yep.
But they're getting way stricter on it. But yeah, I mean, that's why you can take your 5-year-old to a bar and order them a beer as long as you're their parent. That's Tavern League.
Yeah, that one's wild.
Yeah.
That's
I
such a
grew
weird
up on
one.
that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
5-year-old
know.
just
I don't know if there are any like
slinging 'em.
super cool Germans who listen to your podcast because they're like the most underground people on earth. If you ever look at your analytics, there's always some mega hipster like listening to you from a
I'm
remote
huge in
location.
Germany for some reason.
Yeah, you probably got a huge Luxembourgians.
Yeah.
You could hit up.
Got a couple
But
Luxembourgians.
yeah, the word Tavern League to anyone not from this state is just going to be mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, interesting. I never heard of that before. Tavern League.
Yeah.
It's all the big
Interesting.
bar guys. It's big bar.
Wow.
big
Big
bar,
bar, yeah.
big
Big
booze.
darts, big skee ball, big dice. They're all in collusion.
Yeah.
So because of Tavern League, weed won't become legal for quite some time.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
A lot
Bummer.
of lobbying.
Yeah, why would they let
Bummer.
you cure your depression with weed? They already have alcohol.
But do you think that these old guys, like who's replacing these old guys once they die off?
Their sons,
And are their sons
they want beer.
Booze.
the
Yeah.
booze? Give us the booze.
Yeah, it's
Beer.
Throw out the weed.
yeah, it's weird.
Devil's lettuce.
Wisconsin is kind of we have a lot of big groups that are like largely influenced. Like, and they're not like big influencers, and they're not like the usual ones you'd maybe expect. Like the restaurateurs have like a huge influence over policy. The road guys,
Wait,
have a-
restaurant tours?
yeah, like restaurant, like the Bartoladas or like
Oh,
your
yeah,
restaurant
yeah,
guys.
Restaurant
Like,
tours.
they,
Like one
like,
word.
Yeah, like they have a lot of influence. Like
Restaurant
I heard that too.
the roads. Like, you ever wonder why Milwaukee is the fanciest highway of a city of 600,000 people ever? It's because like Big Road is like they're really
Yeah.
good at securing budget money to just add more layers to that highway. And
That's-
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know how
stacking
they
up.
do
So
it.
like our
Yeah.
whole lives, the highway has been under construction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's because
basically.
those guys, they go to Madison and they're like, yeah, we're gonna need about 5,000 more cobblestone. And
Yeah,
they're like,
stack 'em
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
and they're like, all right, here you go.
Yeah. The highway we made is too confusing, so we're gonna tear it down and make one even more confusing.
Yeah, like in 2013,
right.
we turned down a $400 million pro bono train deal that would have been paid back over a 30-year span at 69 cents per taxpayer, and we turned it down because Big Road was like, dude, less
the roads.
If there's anything
less
my grandpa
cars on the
taught
road,
me, it's to
less
not,
cracks in the pavement,
not diss a train deal.
less tar.
We need that train
me.
deal.
we need the train.
The
Someone
train
said-
would be so sweet.
Yeah, it was
like
supposed
a
to connect-
super fast train going all the way down south, all the way up
Well, it was
north.
supposed to go from Minneapolis to Madison to Milwaukee to Chicago to Indianapolis to Detroit. It was supposed to connect the whole Midwest, and it was supposed to go like China speeds, like 200 miles
Yeah,
an hour.
look, I could get to Minneapolis in
like an hour and 10
yeah.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like crazy.
That'd
and
be so cool.
the federal government, so it was like,
that not a thing right now?
yeah, so the federal government agreed to match a
Big car.
corporation for 400. It was like $400 million on both sides. So it was like an almost $800 infrastructure. It was almost $1 billion infrastructure stimulus, and we would have had to pay back a percentage of it over a 15 or 30-year pay period across all taxpayers, which if every citizen was paying taxes would have been like 70 cents a person per year, but with how many people actually pay taxes, it was going to be like $1.15 per year. You weren't going to feel it. But again, it would have taken money away from the roads. The roads, like the Tavern Leagues and the restaurants, are the ones in charge, which is just so funny.
Yeah.
That's like another Wisconsin thing to me is like, oh, yeah, we're controlled by Ratatouille and them. Like,
And Roadman.
yeah.
Road man.
I don't know. It's funny.
Interesting.
That's why everything's always under construction forever.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
taking out that highway or the off ramp and by Third Ward and downtown. Did you see those
They're
renovations?
getting rid of it, or they're
They're
building
taking
new
it
one?
out and putting a big park in.
Yeah,
like
that's
5,
Whoa,
6
controversy.
supposedly.
Oh.
Yeah.
years.
So,
It looks pretty
Cool.
sweet.
yeah, I thought the
Cool.
pictures were cool.
Well, and that ramp is
cool
really
prints.
stupid.
It
If
makes
it's
no
the ramp I'm
sense.
thinking of, the one that is like, it's 3 ramps that
It's
all
like
go to the
this.
same street. Or is it like the Van Buren Jackson like split?
Yeah,
Mm.
like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Same,
highway.
like where it's 3 ramps that
How
all
else
merge.
would you get downtown like real fast though?
Well,
from
Lakefront spits you out pretty close. There's
Lakefront.
yeah, like if you go past Van Buren, like if you take the swoopy up guy, it spits out by the art museum.
Right, but from the highway, I feel like they're taking that whole thing out, right?
Oh, they're taking the whole.
yeah, I think
all-
they're taking that whole like length from like,
Let's check it out.
basically they're gonna they're gonna leave the Hoenn.
They
but then
better
it's-
not be
it's gonna
sending
go
everybody
down.
on 27th and Clybourne as a flow through that. It's just going to go poorly.
No, I don't think they are. I think they're just basically they're like taking out the highway, but they're like putting a road in instead of it. So it's not going to be raised. It's just going to be like a wide road.
Well,
with
and
a
then
park
there's
next to it.
Kilbourne. There's the tunnel. You can still
Yeah.
get downtown through the tunnel. And then there's Fond du Lac, I think, right? That's right there.
This is such
Yeah.
a Milwaukee niche podcast. right now.
Yeah,
Fondy.
listen,
Talking about
if
the,
you're-
the
Talking
roads.
Fondy.
If you're not from Milwaukee, you better tune out for the next 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, unless you're curious.
Yeah.
Unless you're, yeah.
You might really like transportation
Hey,
and infrastructure.
we have one of the most developed highway systems in the nation. So there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, like Austin's was pretty bad.
Yeah, when we went to Austin, they have literally 2 highways, and the only reason they have 2 highways is because the 2 that bisect the whole state happens to cross in Austin, and it's a highway. It's a highway going up and a highway going sideways. And if you need to get anywhere else, it's gravel and side streets. I'm not kidding. It was insane. People are like, "Oh yeah, this city is as big as your city,
I don't know if there's
but
big
it takes
cities.
90 minutes to get
They
in."
They got to keep it weird, dude.
Yeah,
keep Austin
keep it
weird.
Yeah, keep it weird.
And the
Keep it
opposites in
super
like
weird.
Houston, they have like a 26
yeah,
lane highway.
nightmare. like
like insanity.
Oh my! Imagine like that. Like, I mean, how do they drive? They have to be like very uniform because you can't be like a Chicago
must.
driver.
Oh, you been to
if you're, like,
Toronto?
on that? No, I've been to Canada, but not Toronto.
Because they have a
See, this
20
is
lane
what it
highway, and
was.
it's also like, what the?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
how do you-
there still is going to be a pretty big road right here.
This is the proposed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're getting rid. Is that the Plankinton? Is that the Plankinton
I guess
exit? 'Cause
further
that looks like the
down
one
where
that
it
goes by
is.
the intermodal, which is kind of useless if I'm thinking of.
Because
the
there's
right
the
one.
third ward. Like, there's that gas station, like, right here.
Yeah, isn't that the one that goes
Yeah.
by Amtrak? The really useless
Um,
ramp. I think I agree if it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's like
I believe so, yeah.
this is like so that's the public market right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's like
okay.
the highway. That's like it's like raised, but instead
Yeah.
of
Oh,
raised,
it's like the
Yeah.
little bridge looking
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
These are
it's
confusing
just gonna be a
because these
regular
aren't even
road.
here yet.
yeah.
We're also gonna do this too.
Yeah, by the way.
Sears Tower number 2 is
The,
gonna
the
come up
Northwestern
in
building is
2027.
still like 70% empty, and Tim Michael's building has nothing in it. What are they doing? What are
Just
we
more
doing?
empty buildings.
Yes,
Yeah.
Michaels.
Maybe one of them make a fire gig space.
Yeah.
We should play
Damn.
shows in the one in the foreground.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should play a show in
Play a show in the Snake.
Northwestern building.
Yeah,
Play show
the top.
Right.
Wait, they got like 15
Yeah.
floors near the
Yeah.
top that are empty.
that's the spot.
Busking.
That would be a sick
Yeah, a
practice
busker.
space.
Yeah,
You
I
just
wonder-
rent a floor.
I wonder if
cool.
real move makers like Samargani have a Northwestern mutual contact, and he could be like, "Hey, put bands up in the Northwestern top floor." Well, we
That'd
don't.
be tight.
Our city doesn't do anything.
There's
silly.
probably so much space in those rentals or business. What is it? Like not apartments, but high rises
Yeah,
and
they're
shit.
like leases
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're suites. You
Yeah,
call it
business like
yeah.
yeah. My brain is
We got that giant
China.
lumber building now, the biggest lumber building
Yeah,
in the world or
right.
nation.
Huh?
I forget which one.
number
know that one?
No, I don't
They were
know.
like,
one.
we had to do something because nothing was happening. So they were like, well, we can't get the biggest building. Clearly, we're Milwaukee, but we can get the biggest lumber one. So
How
we're
funny
building.
would that be if Milwaukee
So it's
just
a wood building.
randomly
Yeah.
builds
The
the
biggest-
largest building in the world?
Yeah. Well,
Sick.
We should
that's
take
where all
some
the
cues.
train money went.
Yeah, take some cues from our neighbors down south in Chicago and how wooden buildings
Well, Dubai
Yeah.
took the
Go.
clock
They
tower
don't go
from
well.
us.
No.
Remember, we took the clock tower from England, and then
Yeah.
Dubai took it from us. Well, like Big Ben, was the biggest clock tower for a long time, and then the
Big
Allen
Ben.
Bradley was bigger than Big Ben.
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller? Oh yeah,
that's that clock tower.
But
Is
the,
it bigger than Big Ben?
yeah.
Okay.
The clock faces are, not the
Gotcha.
building.
Yeah,
the
that's-
clock
yeah,
faces
the
are.
clock
Right.
itself.
Yeah.
Four-sided.
And then,
Four-sided.
Yeah,
That's all
and
it-
then during Dubai's like big neo-futurism, like we need to have a city that looks like space on Earth push. They were like looking at Guinness World Records they could easily snag, and they were like biggest clock, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
What? Never heard of that place.
Yeah, right. And now the Burj
Losers.
Khalifa has the world's biggest clock tower featured on it in one of its spires.
It's like gold plated,
Damn it.
probably.
Yep.
Like a little.
Yeah, they
So
we-
we're second biggest.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we're second.
But
biggest.
isn't it technically the second biggest four-sided clock tower.
Yeah, yeah,
in the world?
four-phase
it's
clock
still
tower.
four-phase.
Uh-huh.
That's what I mean. Like even
The loopholes.
even the guys in Dubai were starting to like scrape the barrel for records.
Yeah.
They were like, oh,
Well, that's
shit,
the funny thing about
four-phase
Guinness.
clock.
Guinness anyway was like that. Where like it's just like the guy that can shoot milk out of his damn eye the most. Like, get out of here, dude. Like,
You're
like,
the only person that
You're
can
like,
do
there's
that.
one that's like most balloons popped with your ass in a minute.
like, shut up. It's just like YouTubers doing it now. Just like, what's up? I'm gonna do
How
this.
sick would it be to own a world record though?
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
for a
that's-
day,
yeah.
if possible.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know,
probably
it's okay.
the push
It
that they
depends.
have.
Really, the mundanity I think does have an effect. Like the how little the record I think does diminish. Like I had a friend who held the world record in the Max Payne 3 speed run. Which what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to anyone. But they had it, as a game for the Xbox 360 from like 2011, and they played it the
Interesting.
fastest in the world.
And
when
we
it
had the
was
Flappy
recorded.
Bird record.
Oh, we had the Flappy Bird
our high
kid.
school.
Yeah.
Shut up!
Yeah.
No way.
But that's a
Yeah.
real record. I'm talking about something nobody cares about.
Okay,
People
yeah.
cared at the time about
Yeah,
it.
you
cared about
remember
that.
Flappy Bird. And
Yeah,
you knew.
fuck
No, not
yeah.
Flappy Bird. What was it?
Is it Angry?
No,
No.
dude. Okay,
Run?
this is so funny now
Temple
because
Run?
it wasn't Flappy
Wait,
Bird.
it wasn't Flappy Bird.
No,
dude.
that's what makes it. It was the
that
one.
record would be crazy.
What was the one where like you were the bird and you like dove like up and down and like
That's Flappy Bird.
No, that's like the Mario tubes with like the
Yeah, yeah.
push pull
Ding,
mechanics.
ding,
I mean like the
Jet- Jetpack Joyride?
dude. But this is so funny because I pulled you all in with like a relatable app and now this is not the app and it's some niche shit that no
Some
one
niche
knows.
thing.
It was a bird thing.
So it's not a real record.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's just
And
like
it's not Angry Birds.
No.
It's not one of the
It's a
notable
different
bird ones.
it's like a just above the underground level bird game.
So
I
it's
wasn't into bird
if you like
games.
hold down your thumb,
Yes.
the bird goes. And you
But
let
it was
go.
like you would like do swoops on big hills and you like get coins and then have to like time it right so you'd ramp down and then boost up the next jump
This
and like
sounds slightly
you'd soar
familiar.
really high and then you'd have to time it like it's like a mega ramp or something where like you have to hit the slope perfectly to get max speed to dive
I was
up.
thinking like
Is that the
Line
penguin
Rider,
one?
But that wasn't
No,
like
it
that.
was-
the sledding penguin. All right.
We might have to start pulling up some
Yeah.
damn
right,
bird.
right. You want me to pull it up? I
Bird
can pull it
game.
up.
But he had the
Yeah,
record.
but look up viral bird app 2013.
Damn near, yeah. Like this is like 10 years ago. So
But I was just saying, just because something's a record, if there's no notoriety attached, I'm not sure you feel anything.
yeah.
So it's not like anyone's like looking that up.
Viral bird app.
Bird alone.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna have to send this podcast. If we don't figure it out, I'm sending this to Carl and I'm asking him, hey, what was that bird game you had the record on?
Flappy Bird, Flappy Bird, Flappy Bird.
Was it called something wings?
Is it Tiny Wings?
It might be Tiny Wings.
Oh, is that it? That one was the
Yeah,
first one.
it's fucking Tiny
I
Wings.
remember this
Yes,
one.
the kid from our high school, Carl,
Oh, I didn't even see it on the
had
screen.
maybe still does because I don't know
Maybe
who plays
his
this
name
game.
is
Yeah,
in
this
here.
is like freaking wow, that long ago.
Yeah, where's the YouTube video that's 90 minutes long about Tiny Wings
right?
record history?
Oh, that's so dumb that they don't have him on the wiki. But yeah, he got the world record, and we went to high school with him. Wow. But
Does he still have it?
that's what I don't know because this game is like 11 years old, so I don't even know. I mean, Flappy
Oh,
Bird, as
dude,
we all know,
totally. I remember this.
famously got pulled off the App Store.
one. Did it?
Yeah, and there's like iPod Touches on eBay that are used that go for like
Wow.
I don't know how much
Why did
money.
it get taken off?
the creator just had like a breakdown or something. Was like no more Flappy Bird, and just like got rid of it.
It was everyone was playing Flappy
Yeah, I
Bird.
think he like made a bunch of cash and was like, oh, this is so stupid, and then he just was like, just pulled it.
remember
Oh
when-
yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
got
could
yeah.
swoop up and catch the.
Yep.
Yeah, there are coins. Okay.
Honestly, this looks better than Flappy Bird. I'm
Use
gonna
like
say
the
it.
momentum.
I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it.
no, because you gotta like the momentum, and it gets crazier the higher you get. You have to like time it right. Like, oh, now I'm gonna jump down, and you like touch it to go. Like, boom, you got
And I forgot
Oh,
about
wow,
this
and then
game
it gets-
completely.
yeah. See,
Oh god.
ain't gonna get a world record with that
I
strat.
see.
Yeah, that's a bad strat.
Wow. Good for him. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Amen. Good job, Carl.
How
Yeah.
many hours was his?
I have no idea.
or minutes.
I don't
hours?
know. Enough.
I know
you know?
some people, will run a game back over 10,000 times to secure that dub.
Hey,
so-
because that's what they say. Those 10,000 hours.
yeah,
That's that expert or master. Is it? Is that master
Mastery.
level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Master level.
I don't know. I was just,
You know?
thinking, I'm like, are there 10,000 hours worth of mastery in Tiny Wings?
No.
Like, is the EXP
Oh,
bar that big?
No, and I mean, like he beat it when he was like in like 11th grade, so like he wouldn't, he's like a high
Yeah,
school
brain
student.
isn't even developed.
yeah.
and not fully wrinkled.
You got to do AP Lang homework. You don't
Yeah.
have time to, mom's like, hey, what are you playing?
You're
the
just a
Flappy
tiny
Bird?
wing.
What are you doing? You can't do that.
What would you rather be doing or want to be doing?
Right?
Yeah.
It's Flappy Bird or no? I
Tiny
keep saying
Wings.
Tiny
Tiny
Wings.
Wings.
Yeah.
Come on.
Flappy Wings,
Flappy
Flappy Bird.
yeah.
Small bird.
It's just, they're all birds.
Small flaps.
Well, like slightly tangentially, I do wonder if there's going to be a bubble burst on the whole like playing video games for world records and having people pay to watch you like run
Yeah.
those video games back over and over again, or is it just going to get bigger as like more and more jobs are robot server? Not to be a boomer, but I
Right.
just mean like
What's the
Yeah.
longevity in this sport?
yeah.
Are you going to be doing this all your life?
I just wonder like is this a fad or is it
Yeah,
not?
no, totally. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like that's the only thing makes me feel like boomer idea or whatever is just not really wanting to watch people play video games.
Yeah.
I like playing video games, but I
Yeah.
don't really like watching people play them.
I like watching them play video games if it's like a video, like a gameplay kind of thing, and I know for a
Yeah.
fact I'll probably never play this game.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to
I
like
kinda
a
like those.
no commentary plays of games where the game would just play with nobody talking.
Yeah.
Like those could be kind of peaceful.
Yeah, I mean, like speedruns
Yeah.
are like that, and it's just like either the best people at it or like tool assisted, and they just go. And
Yeah, like
it's just
speedruns are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I
because there's
just-
no talking
It's
usually.
just you have people making like, if you get 1,000 Twitch subscribers, you get like $2.50 a person per month. So if even 1,000 people flip you that $5,
Yeah.
you're cutting $2,500 a month to run Mario 3 back like endlessly.
Man.
So for Twitch,
now.
I'm so apart from Twitch and all that, like Discord and Twitch and the gaming streaming stuff.
I
but, like,
generally am too. I'm not really like.
so if you're streaming
some,
live
but-
on Twitch or just streaming on Twitch, do you have to can you only do it live, or can you do streams and record and then people come back, or do only people watch you?
it's
when
it's
you're
live,
doing
and
I
then
don't
they
watch
can
streams
use
either.
it after. Like
Use
they
it
can clip it,
after.
or you can I think you can save it to like, oh, I'm gonna save this whole stream here and like
then post
Yeah,
it?
I
yeah,
think
have it as
through
a catalog.
Twitch, it's always
Okay.
live.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think if you're on Twitch, it's always. I don't really watch streamers either.
yeah,
Like I know YouTube has a streaming service too.
that's been
And
kind of
that-
popping up more.
That one might be a little
Okay.
bit. That one is different, I think, because like you have like the lo-fi hip hop girl who plays your homework music. And
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, like
that's
the beats
supposedly live,
Yep.
but that's all pre-recorded.
Yeah,
So that
Right.
that would be a yes. But then for Twitch, I think everybody's live all the time,
Yeah.
and then Twitch lets you highlight
Highlight
parts of your
okay.
streams. They give you like the raw footage back at the end when you
Yeah.
like turn it off.
Okay.
And then I think you can like take snippets and post them to your profile.
I think you can take the whole thing too, but it's like up to the creator. Like, oh, just post this whole 4-hour thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
but I mean, I think you can post the little clips
Yeah.
on your Twitch.
Yeah.
There are probably any gamers who are watching this are like, yes, dude, obviously.
shut
Come on.
I thought this was a gamer
idiot.
band.
Really explaining Twitch?
Stop talking about it like you know anything.
Why are you
I really
holding
don't
your
use
DS
Twitch
in
at
your
all.
photo shoot?
Let's just keep talking about Twitch as no one here
Yeah.
uses it for like the next hour.
We're just gonna speculate.
I think
based
the
on
logo,
no
yeah, it's like a red
information.
logo and it's like an emoji and
It's the one with
I
the
don't know. I think
alien,
it's mostly
right?
a cooking channel.
That's
yeah,
the
it's an
one with-
alien with
yeah.
a cooking,
Cooking channel.
like spatula. Yeah.
I feel like it couldn't be too hard to get 1,000 people
Right. That's what I'm
to
saying.
watch, but that would be per
That's like buyers.
stream live though. Buyers, so like
Well, like
subscribers.
yeah, like people who are paying for like a Patreon
$5 a
type
month.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, if you're one like,
$5 a month.
there've
though,
got to
for
be
1,000
thousands
people.
of people
Yeah.
making 25
$5,000
grand a year.
It's not,
Like-
you can make an easy living just kind of
Yeah.
carving out your niche. It's definitely hard
Right.
if you're, you have like, it's a pretty saturated environment. Like it's
Yeah.
mostly
Yeah.
people that are gaming and like hanging out in their zone with like their LED lights and like, G fueling. So like, again, like I get what you mean where it's
feel-
like, how much
yeah.
longer is that going to, like, when will that bottom out in regards to that with the video game aspect or,
Well, and we're
you know,
definitely seeing it, I think, a little bit with YouTube, or at least the point where the numbers stop meaning anything. Like,
Yeah.
1 million subscribers used to be a big deal, but now there's something like tens of thousands of YouTube channels with 1 million plus subscribers. Like,
Yeah.
like more people,
Wow.
like way more than there are people on Earth. Like that's how many collective YouTube subscribers there are, and like
Right.
being a million plus person anymore like is no guarantee that you have any notoriety anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you'll make a living for now, I guess. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you'll make ad money, and like if you're smart, you'll like pursue ventures outside of that, and like
Yeah.
make a bunch of merchandise for something, and seek other financial avenues.
I
but
think
like, yeah,
that in general though, the younger generation likes to watch these live streams and video games. I saw something once where the dad was like, why do you like watching your video games and you're not even playing the video games, you're just watching somebody play the video games? And then the kid was like, why do you watch football, you're not playing football?
Yeah.
get wrecked.
pull this out and
boomer.
drop it right
Yeah.
on the ground. No, yeah.
Like it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Really. It really is.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a little diagram of the remote and you see like what they're pressing
Yeah.
at that time. It's like,
Right.
whoa,
Well,
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
true.
fingers are going
It's
crazy.
detailed.
Well, and it's even a little bit more personal with the streamers because people develop that buzzword they throw around, that parasocial relationship, you know, that like
Right.
where they're like
That
your
is true.
It's like the one-sided friendship type thing, and people have always had that with celebrities. You know, there's the famous Eminem song "Stan"
Right.
Yeah.
about a parasocial relationship taken too far. But now with the streamers, it's like expected and required for the streamer to make money. Like your viewers,
What is required?
like for your viewers to feel like you're their friend, like not
That's-
just that you're a
oh,
content
okay.
provider, not that
Yeah.
you're just a source of
That's the part that turns me. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but like that's the part that turns me off. Is like
I
you have
couldn't,
to.
I couldn't shoulder that burden.
Yeah, and like well, then
There's
just
a
like,
lot
like,
of
I'm not that
energy going
nice.
out
It-
where
Yeah.
it's,
yeah. Well, and just like having to like pull away from what you're doing to just be like, oh my god, oh thank you for the 10, dude. Oh, and just like every 5 seconds, just like
if
dote
someone-
on everybody that gives you any
How do they
ounce
focus
of
on
attention.
their game? That's what I'm always thinking.
Because
Of,
it's not even
like-
about that at a certain point.
like
but
the 10,
that would
dude.
just yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's like a lot of that, which like
Yeah.
again, like they're making a living. There's people that are like lonely that like get something out of this. Like it's cool. Like I'm glad that they have this like thing in some ways, but like I don't know. Like I know what you mean. Me personally, I just like I want to see something that's happening. I don't want like I can't really get into streaming too much because it is so much of someone that's like, I'm here having fun. I'm also on the clock, so I have to like, oh, thank you for the sub. Oh, thank you for the membership. Thank you for the
Yeah.
$20.
All the
Oh, you have a question?
donations.
You know, they're just
kind of soul
constantly
draining.
you have
a
to take
little bit.
Yeah.
requests. You know, you have to be willing to do just about anything that's within community guidelines. Because
Yeah,
people, because
that's
you know,
true.
I know a little bit of watching, you know, from like
Take your
clips.
shirt off.
Yeah,
Take your shirt
right.
off.
Like clips of
Bro,
streams.
you can't do it.
Like in the wild west of Twitch, like you know, obvious violations like nudity aside, you know, you had several guys putting themselves in the hospital because they were like taking $20 for a shot of alcohol on stream, you know, and like you know,
Yeah.
they
Just
make
Death Wish stream.
yeah, they'd
Yeah.
make $500 and $20 donations that night, but they would pass out on stream, and like their stream would be left running for 6 hours while they were just like face down on the keyboard.
I'm sure there's people like I don't like. I mean, it's not the same thing. Remember like Facebook Live? Like one of the first like things that happened was like someone just like shot somebody or something. It was just like the first thing was like, oh, this is what happens, and it's like, oh, okay, all
I
right.
remember the,
Facebook
it's
Live
the
is a
world.
whole other-
Yeah.
I don't
I
think it
guess-
was Facebook Live, but it was that YouTube video of that girl eating her tampon.
Classic.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
That was like
I
when we were
think
in
I
high
remember
school.
hearing about
was
that, but I don't know if I've
viral.
seen it.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
viral.
That's
Yeah.
true. That was back when nobody knew what to do with the internet, and they're like,
well,
well, we might as
it
well
was
boost.
catch up. It was catch up.
We might as well boost her up. She's crazy. I guess
Yeah.
like
that's
That's
people are
wild.
watching this.
I mean, that was like back when YouTube was like, people are putting videos of people dying on here, but I guess it's getting revenue. So
Yeah, like you ever see that video of
Whatever.
like the ex Facebook mods where they're just like these people that look like they've been to hell and back, and they're like, yeah, I was a moderator on Facebook, and like all I saw was just hell and like despair, and like because they're just
God.
all they do is like
Yeah.
leaf through and weed through things that need to be taken off Facebook, which is just hellish videos left and right, and they're like, yeah, I did it for like 6 months, and I had to like I'm still in therapy and like this and that. And I'm
That's
like,
what I
yeah,
think
dude.
about. That's what I think about
That is
those Reddit
screwy.
mods that moderate the like. There's this really unfortunate content rabbit hole I fell in a couple weeks ago where I was like, I don't know, I was just in a spot where I was working, doing music, and then at home I didn't know what to do other than play Minecraft and put YouTube video on in the background.
Sometimes the shit break you.
Yeah, sometimes it's just Minecraft, and
Yeah, Yeah.
I had these videos on in the background that was just like either a robot or a guy with nothing to do reading Reddit threads. Like it was pretty bad. But like,
oh yeah, where
Oh
it's like
yeah,
the-
I've seen those.
and it's just like
Ask
Spider-Man
Reddit.
video. Yeah, and they're just
Yeah.
like Spider-Man video gameplay, like video game gameplay.
What's
in
the worst
background.
thing that ever happened to you in your life?
And it's like it's what is your we never speak of this again moment. And it's
Oh,
just
no.
like right, they're all so terrible.
Yeah.
And like reading it, I just feel like hearing it, I just feel like such a terrible person. And I'm like, what is this content? And
Just doom scroll stuff.
what it is
Yeah.
like to be a moderator of these boards where it's your whole job is to just read about people's worst experiences. That's it. It's like a 911 operator. basically.
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
real.
Also,
man.
like think
We gotta
about
be
all the ones that got deleted.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what I mean.
Like,
Like,
the
where
old-
they're just
even
like,
worse ones.
they're like,
Your life is too
you-
crazy."
You, got to
Yeah.
call the police, dude. I'm taking this
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
off. This isn't Reddit material. And I'm not even
Do
a
they have
Reddit
bots
reader.
for that now to sift through YouTube videos, or is it all of people?
They are people.
Tardigrade.
They are
Go
people.
crazy. Go
I,
crazy.
I just noticed that there was a tardigrade one, so I'm sorry, not to derail, but that's cool.
They are people because they are flesh and blood, but they do so much Reddit moderating that I'm not sure there's a difference between them and robots at this point. It is people.
In YouTube, do you think?
YouTube is no humans. That's why everything's so silly on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is because they just leave it up to the robot to scan for the Ariana Grande soundbite, and they're like, "All right, kid, you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Sony,
Copyright.
hit us up. You're out of here."
Yeah, yeah. I got flagged for something once.
Really?
Was it your music?
For, I have that happened on TikTok before where
That's funny.
I posted my own
Hey,
TikTok.
dude, you're stealing Social Sig's song.
yeah, like this is me. This is so stupid because I put the music on the video before editing it in the TikTok editing system.
So
Right.
so there was
Yeah.
no.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-uh.
yeah, I can't do that.
You
Yeah.
thought you
Can't
could
do
use
that.
your music?
No.
No,
Dumb.
so dumb, bro. So dumb. But
Well, what's crazy to
do?
me is that they let the system be bad, and then also the punishment is extreme. It's like they have both. It's like the system doesn't work, and then
You're
it's like,
outta here.
Yeah, if this happens one more time, we're deleting everything. And it's like,
What?
what did I do?
ma'am, I do makeup tutorials
For
with
real.
no sound.
Let me post my video,
And
please.
all like the customer help services for those, I feel, are bots nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
really
Is it
real
Tencent that
people.
owns TikTok? Is that right?
I
Or is
have
it
no
the
idea.
other one? Well, the company that owns TikTok, they don't even have American support infrastructure. Like they're not an American-based company.
Well, I keep seeing all these things that they're gonna ban TikTok.
Right. Yeah,
well,
it's
that's
already
what they've
like
been
on a
saying since
government
it
level.
That's what they've been
Yeah,
saying
already
since it
banned.
got here.
Yeah.
Because there's no way for them to regulate it, and
Yeah.
you know, this isn't a politics podcast, so I won't say anything. But people get all silly when the word regulation comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Also, China. Anything with China.
Yeah.
You say China and unregulated.
America, they can spy on me all they damn well want to. As soon as TikTok's doing it, throw that thing out.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just because they want to keep the competition out of
Right.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook.
Well, and the
all
data
that's
thing,
YouTube.
because TikTok is like, I don't know, one of the biggest data farms for like what it takes from your phone. And then they have all that new kind of money, data money, whatever
Yep.
that is. I don't know what it is, but TikTok's got a lot of it. And American companies are like, oh, we want that data money.
Yeah.
You have too
That's
much
our
data
thing.
money. Yeah.
We've been doing that.
We do that to our own
Stop
people.
it.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Can we have some? Oh, no. Then you're banned. I imagine that's what's going on. I imagine they have too much data
Yeah.
that they can sell for skincare targeted
Who
ads.
knows? I feel that in the next few years, for sure, TikTok is going to be banned from the U.S. It seems like it.
Yeah.
But there'll
And
be
they
another one.
and
right
balloons will be
afterwards.
banned here.
Like they banned
Balloons.
Vine already. Like people are talking about
None
it
of
like
them.
this would be crazy. TikTok is like water and electricity. It's a utility. You can't ban TikTok. And it's like, dude, they just took Vine, and that was 7-second videos.
They did.
Yeah.
They
They were
did.
just like,
it was.
that's
all it was.
I felt like it
Ah.
was planned.
No,
It
put
was
him in the
planned.
coffin. no
Mine
crackhead
was
kid.
So cool.
No,
No
smack
chili-
cam.
No chilies.
Yeah.
And then there was that little tease that the maker of Vine put out Vine 2
Yeah.
on Twitter or
And
something.
I guess they got him. They like
They got him
probably
right
they
away.
probably like put a bag on his head and took him in a van. They were like, "You're done."
Never
They
dude."
made
seen
it.
him
They made a
since.
TikTok of it.
It may
and
be like if
like,
Napster guy was
What
like
happens?
Napster 2.
yeah.
Like Metallica
Oh
sends
my
the SWAT team in.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, Napster. What is the first kind of smart device that y'all had?
Samsung Galaxy S2.
I had
Wow,
a
that
20
sounds like
yeah.
very up to date.
Yeah, well, I
S2?
had flip.
S2.
I had flip phone for a long time. You know, where
sure
us us elder Milwaukee musicians remember a time before iPhone, which some of our
Yeah.
peers can't quite remember.
I didn't get a smartphone
crazy
until
though.
college.
Right.
So-
That's crazy. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You were flipped
Wow.
out.
Yeah, I got a Samsung. Yeah, I had the Motorola Razr forever.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Motorola.
That was pretty tight. I do miss that phone though, just because I remember like eating it like really hard, like on my bike or my skateboard or something multiple times, and it not breaking.
You could use those
bricks,
as a
man.
throwing axe
Yeah,
at one
you-
of those bars.
Yeah.
Throw it at a wall. Battery lasts a week. Like
And that was
old phones were
awesome.
In
the
my
shit.
first phone that I had to charge every day, I was like, "This is the end of the world." Like,
Why do I
Yeah,
feel like I
that was
have a
whack.
flashback of one of my neighborhood friends just chucking their
Yeah,
flip
right,
phone
like,
like
yeah.
at a wall?
Everyone had
grabbing it,
parents who like
throwing
their
it.
kids either had $1,000 a week allowance or there was just no rules in the house. I had a friend like that too. I remember several times walking home from school, he made a big deal about like, it's 2009 and this is my iPhone. And
Right.
everyone would be like, "Whoa!" And then he'd throw it on the ground and stomp on it. And then he'd be like, "I'll be back tomorrow with a new one."
Yeah, it's like the kid that,
Jesus. And then
the
he
kid that
writes.
comes and has it it's like Easter Sunday, man. What'd you get? And it's like it's Easter. You know,
Chocolate.
so kids like
Chocolate.
iPhone 4, and you're like, what? I got the iPhone.
Valentine's Day.
Silliest holiday story, and this is high school memories, long time ago, not important. But speaking of kids who said silly things after returning from a holiday, it was December 7th or 8th at school. We'd gotten back from St. Nick's Day, big holiday.
Oh, St. Nick's.
For a poor
December
kid like
8th.
me, I always got tons of stuff like tangerine
In the shoe.
More Wisconsin
in,
stuff.
in my dirty ass shoe. No idea. And this
Lots
one
of
kid
coal.
came in. He was like sitting all emoed out. He was all like, and people were like, "Oh, dude, what's wrong? What's up?" And he's like, "Not much. Just like had to freaking choke out my freaking dad this weekend for St. Nick's Day. He got me the iPhone 4C." And like, I can't tell you how many times I said iPhone 5S. And like, someone's like, "You choked out your dad?" And it's like, "Yeah, dude, they kicked me out for like 4 hours. It was really bad.
Because they didn't get the newer one.
Didn't get the right
You got the
iPhone."
one with like, is it
And
the
he
one
was
with
like-
like colors on it or something?
Yeah, he got the colored
4C.
one. He got the powder blue one instead of the
Right.
sleek metallic 5S.
Man.
And I remember him
Damn.
sitting all posed up in
Dad
class,
choke.
just like, just choke out my freaking dad, dude.
If I was
Yeah.
a teacher,
Yeah.
Dude, and I was
be
just
so
like,
pissed.
yeah, I was like, well, I looked at my LG Rumor Touch, like,
Shit, man.
yeah, must be nice.
Yeah.
All right, I got to take a leak. Talks amongst yourselves.
Oh man,
my
you're
idea.
dangerous here.
Damn. Danger.
All right, this has now
Beatbox
been
sesh.
or like barbershop quartet.
I've got nothing interesting to say.
What did you do today?
What did I do today? I wrote an article about tax incentives for buying electric vehicles in the state of Iowa.
Wow.
That's for my job. I'm doing I'm just doing, I would call it a remote computer job. They're always talking about those remote computer jobs. Yeah, like when your dad, or I don't know if your dad, but someone's dad you knew growing up, not my dad, would say, "Yeah, my dad just goes to work." And you're like, "No, haha, but what does your dad do?" And they would be like, "No, he just seriously goes to work. I have no idea what he does." This is like one of those jobs where if you ask me what do I do for work, I would tell you I work on my computer. There's a little bit of web design, a little bit of WordPress.
Are you freelance or do you?
No, it's like I'm working for somebody who does contracts and needs somebody, and they're freelance. And then now I'm doing the runoff busy work that's beneath them.
The extra.
The extra. I do all the runoff work. So like this, so a lot of like writing newsletters, or like if a link is broken on a website, making sure the link works. So that's what I did today.
Wow. Is that
Yeah.
hourly?
Yeah, it's a weird setup. It's contracting work, so the pay setup isn't
Okay, I
traditional.
see it.
It's like there's a base rate.
So
and
you have
then
your
I bill-
your own business almost.
Yeah, there's a base rate up to a certain amount of time, and then after I bill for an hourly rate that if it exceeds the allotted time in a month, it's weird. And then there's an
Okay.
additional commission for writing stories.
Wow,
Articles.
you're a jack of all trades.
A dishy commishi.
It's yeah, definitely something that I went into being like, I don't think I got this, and then getting into it. And
I got this.
I feel like I have like completely like because I feel like that like anyone does where you're like, man, I don't know if I can. I'm way in over my head. I don't know about this. And then there's some stuff I'll like where you're like in your bed, like laptop on the chest, and you're like watching some insane niche trade, and you're like, I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do that. Like I saw this. I saw this video of it was like these guys in Japan making sumi ink, and yeah, and they were like talking about like you have to train for 5 years to do this, and I was watching like I could do that.
Easy.
Like they're like kneading it with their feet, and they're like holding onto like a pull-up rung, like a support beam, and they're kneading it with their feet, and they're like, you know, like putting perfume in it and doing all this stuff, and like they showed the after thing, and I was like, man, like that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want to make some
Right,
ink.
right.
Crazy,
I think that's
crazy
specifically
process.
about
Yeah.
the Japanese art, like the Japanese craftsmen too, where I look at them doing their woodblock method, or I'm like watching them build a table with Lincoln logs, or you know, like you see on the internet, they're always doing these hand. Like saw one where it was like a guy was making scissors by hand, and he's like, my family's been making scissors by hand for 1,000 years.
For 1,000
You're just like,
It's
damn.
like, whoa.
For real?
And I was like watching him do it, and of course I was like, bro, this looks easy, bro. I could be in the scissors shop.
They make it look so
Scissors.
easy.
Yeah.
They really do.
But I'm sure, like, because there's a part where he's just like taking a file and just like shaving chunks of metal off this scissor piece, and he's making it look like you're just like, whoosh, whoosh,
Yeah.
like peeling an apple.
But it's
But I'm
like-
sure I would go to it and be like,
Right. It's like
Break it
supreme
in
muscle
half.
memory. Like he's been doing this for like 35
he
years.
knows how to
genetics.
split the crystalline
Yeah, right.
matrix of the
Yeah.
molecule.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites of those is there's like a place that does like indigo dyeing,
Okay.
and they grow their own indigo.
You said you go there?
No, it's a place in Japan. They grow their own.
I thought you said place
No,
I go.
a spot.
I don't go there.
Indigo.
Geek spot.
It's a place I go in Japan. But anyway, they grow their own indigo, and then they just like, it's crazy watching them like press it into dye because it goes through so many stages of like drying the flowers and then like putting it in a vat and then having to like press it and then taking that and like distilling it down. So you just like concentrate it like super concentrated,
Yeah.
and then sometimes they'll like dry some of it out so they can like use it later as like a starter for dye.
Right.
So only indigo.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
It's
it's,
an
it's
indigo
cool.
fam.
It's a flower,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Indigo
I know
flower.
they.
Yeah.
I know they would grow it in like Florida. I learned that in U.S. History 9 or whatever.
Indigo? Is it grown
Yeah.
in Florida?
Indigo.
Yeah, they always said the South grew what rye, cotton, and indigo or something. Tobacco,
Indigo.
cotton, and indigo.
Yeah.
Knew
The
about
goods.
Tobacco.
The goods.
Cotton and tobacco. I
Tobacco.
didn't know about indigo, actually.
Yeah, and then apparently part of the reason everything's swampy and unfarmable down there is because like I guess those crops, they say fallow the soil or whatever, make
Yeah.
it bad. You can't grow in it, and so they just grew indigo there over and over again. And now after global warming, like Florida's going to be like a cookie and milk or whatever because it's all swamp. fallow land.
Because they grew indigo?
Big part of the reason why,
Wow.
because it was
Wow.
like I guess like what was keeping the water table level was like the wetlands, and then you had like the arable land that was at like higher elevation, but then they like depleted all the topsoil for farming, which like merged it with the wetlands, which deleted both the wetlands and the
A
farmlands.
very
So
slow Oreo and milk.
very slow
Yeah.
Oreo and milk. You know,
Wow.
think about what would happen to an Oreo and milk. That's what happened to Florida with indigo and tobacco.
Which was why Walt Disney was able to come in and buy like acres for a cent.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to put that in the sky like Elysium. There's no way that's
Yeah,
staying
right.
in
That's the
Florida.
first thing that's
He's
going
gonna-
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna be probably, I'm imagining like Tokyo, Jerusalem and Disney World.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like floating.
The
in
first
air.
sky things, the first public access like sky
Yeah.
things.
Disney World
Yeah.
in space.
Giant
Yeah.
like mouse ISS shape.
Maybe
like Disney
Macau.
Channel.
And, maybe Macau and China. They'll have a floating like casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look up, it's only the shape of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, right.
It's like the
satellite that
bottom of
runs
it.
by
think
like,
about
oh,
it,
there's a
though.
Disney
Think about it
channel.
though. The sun and the moon are pretty boring satellites. They're spherical. They're day in day out. Like, we know they're gonna be there. Mickey Mouse orbital.
Right.
Way
Yeah.
harder.
Mickey Mouse orbital.
You never
Way
know.
sicker.
We're
You
gonna
never-
lose sight of some like pretty key like anomalies and maybe
they're gonna be learning about the two
the
moons.
catastrophes like that
2050
might
kids
happen
are gonna
'cause
be
they're
learning
so
about
focused
Earth's
on
two
it.
moons.
Yeah.
Mickey
Two
and
moons.
Moon.
Yeah, 2 moons. Mickey Moon.
Hey, is that a giant asteroid? Oh, I don't know, but the Disney ISS is floating by. It's right there.
Oh, there it is. Comes by once a night. Did you guys see the full moon 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah, that was
crazy.
crazy.
Big boy.
It was like
It was
bright
a big
outside.
one. Juicy.
Like, I was looking. I looked out my window.
Big
and-
red.
Yeah.
I was playing Minecraft, and I looked out my window and I was like, "Whoa, it's only like 7 p.m." And then it was like 11 p.m. But the full moon was big,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow."
Real big.
Oh.
Wow.
She
do you
shone.
guys feel like the energy getting all weird when it's a full moon? Just people driving crazy,
I don't know. I just
weird shit happening.
I don't know.
My spiritual
advertised.
spiritual rods are all out of alignment internally. But what I will say is, if everybody feels the energy's weird and they start acting like the energy's weird, then the energy gets weird
Yeah.
no matter what.
That's
It's
fair.
like a mass
So
effect.
If everybody's
it's a full
on
moon.
10, right? If everyone's on 10, then I'm on 10 because everyone around me is on
That
10.
is interesting
Yeah.
because they do say that emergency rooms are usually a little weird on full moons.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
Stuff like that.
I mean, you got.
Yeah, you just walk in and you see that and you're like, oh man, here I
Well,
go.
and I never know. To get super weird. Spoy's about to get spiritual for a second. I never know what the point
So
of
chat clip this.
Spiritual.
I never know what the point of like separating science from spirit energy or whatever is, because it's like, if I look at the full moon and it makes me feel nostalgic and like makes me feel like a type of way, because you only see the full moon once every 28 days, so it's slightly significant, and you're only going to catch it every so often.
Right.
So you're going to see it, and you're going to associate it with something, and it's going to give you a feeling.
It's like
And
an
so-
innate personal feeling.
Yeah,
like
so
you
many-
look at the moon and it just feels like it's you and the moon.
Yeah,
You
so I
you're
don't know
just
what
like,
that is, but that
yeah.
exists because I've
Right.
felt it.
Yeah.
So I try not to get too in the nitty gritty about like atheism versus spirituality, because it's always just like, bro, people be feeling. Like, no matter what you want to call it, like, people feel ways.
Emotional.
Yeah.
And people's emotions impact other people's emotions, and people's emotions impact their behaviors, which impact other people's lives.
that's true.
So
That
full
is
moon
true.
does do something.
Do you think
I don't know what to
the
call it.
average
Right.
people though realize that it is a full moon, or even?
I'm pretty
care?
out of the loop with it.
Well,
And
here's
so-
what
you
I-
know, I like looking at, like, I'm a observer.
Yeah.
I like checking out the sky and looking at things. Like, I always notice it when it happens.
Yeah.
Which is almost more fun. It's like a treat, and you're like, oh wow, that's
It's a full moon.
exceptional.
Yeah, that's
Look
cool.
at that. How about that? That's not your,
Nature.
your average waning gibbous out there. That's a that's a full grade juice moon.
Yeah.
Well,
Full circle.
And like,
Yeah.
let's say I'm going to hang out with somebody and I don't notice it's the full moon, but then they see it's the full moon and it impacts them, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a banger night tonight. It's full moon."
About to
then-
get crazy.
Also, I'm a fucking werewolf.
So then they meet up with me, and I'm just thinking it's regular night mode, but they've been full moon charged, and they're like, "No, bro, we're going crazy." And then I end up having a crazy night despite not knowing it was a full moon.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree. Like, it's really just like a domino effect
Yeah.
based on like just the human emotional experience.
Right,
Like,
and
you're
it's
just
like, if
if
you
you
have-
feel some way because of something that like isn't even like proven, it still has a tangible effect, emotionally for other people to like latch onto and be like, oh well.
Yeah, I believe
I feel that.
I believe humans' greatest superpower is manifestation. Humans have this ability where if enough of them believe in it, it like actually exists to an extent.
Yeah.
So again, if you have, let's say you have River West, right? There's a
Do you
lot
think
of,
it's if enough people, or what
Yeah,
if it was
well,
even just one person?
even if it's like localized or whatever, like it could be in as small of a unit as a household. You could have somebody in a household that has a strong belief that impacts everyone in that household. Or you could have a neighborhood like River West, where I would say a majority of the people here are somewhat astrologically tuned in.
I would say
right?
so.
So then it's like
It's a
I
heady
go,
bunch.
I go to a lot of River West bars. I'm at Quarters a lot. I'm at High Dive a lot. I'm at Mad Planet a lot. And so even though I'm not always keeping up to date with my co-star profile, it's like everyone around me is. and everybody around me is being influenced by it, and everybody believes in it, and they talk about it to each other, and they connect on it, and they relate in it, and it influences everybody. So then it reaches this sort of weird point for me where I'm like, this is having an effect on everybody, like on a spiritual level, like on a level that affects their mood, their personality, their emotions. All these things are happening no matter what you want to call it. There's no way you can deny that. So then it ends up having an effect on me, because if I go to high dive and Mercury's in retrograde and everyone at high dive is acting like Mercury's in retrograde, it's going to impact me, who may not even know that.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and then the astrology people would tell me, well, that's because Mercury's in retrograde. The atheist type people would be like, oh, well, you're at a bar drinking alcohol. Of course you're going to be rowdy.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm somewhere in the middle of like,
Right.
well, all these people around me were on 10 tonight, and part of that was because this event was going on astrologically, and it influenced all of them and their behaviors, which influenced me and my behaviors. So like it exists as much as it doesn't, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by like if enough people believe in it.
Yeah, it's like the paradox of like the placebo effect. It's like, well,
Yeah, 'cause
it
if
could
you were to
be
go to-
fake, but like it still like happened.
Yeah, like if you were to go to
Right.
Moe's Irish Pub in Brookfield and be like, Mercury's in retrograde, they would be like, psh, 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 get out.
Shut up, boy. I'm eating my shepherd's pies.
Which is also interesting as far as like how would the Earth react if there's no humans on the planet and the Mercury was in retrograde? Like how would the animals and
Imagine
the
it's when
insects
you're
and
like
the
when
trees,
your parents leave you alone when you're a kid.
waves.
Like awesome.
Yeah.
They just start smoking
This is
cigarettes or
awesome.
something.
Yeah.
All the animals pull out their packs
Yeah,
and
they
Yeah.
get to
Sip
put their
vodka out of a
Disturbed
Gatorade
CD
bottle.
in the living room stereo, you know.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen like some data somewhere too that said like crime is more prevalent on nights of a full moon or something, which I mean that could be because there's more light. You know, you don't
It's
know.
like, why is 7 a lucky number? Maybe people are just hitting licks on the full moon because they're like, all right, on my demon shit. It's time to hit a lick on the full moon.
Yeah.
But like, again, I don't know. Like, I feel like everybody's always trying really hard to identify what the spirituality bone or organ or chemical is in people.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yeah.
that's where people get hung up is they're
Yeah.
like, what is the mechanism triggering this? And like, people need a concrete
right.
idea.
I need
of
that
what it
pineal
is.
proof,
Like,
bro.
Is it the stars? Is it God? Is it
Right.
science? Is it whatever? I feel like everybody's really trying hard.
Everyone's
to
looking
pin-
for some meaning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they want something that they can just pull in their head and be like, that's just God talking, or like, oh, that's because I'm a Scorpio. Like people
Right.
want that reasoning, and like I also don't want to take that from anybody, or I don't think anybody should, because I think it's important for people to have
Yeah.
that like common ground of like, today was super shitty. How do I cope?
Right.
Oh, well, thank
Right.
God Mercury was in retrograde. Tomorrow will be better. That's good. I think that's only good
Right.
because they're going to put their best foot forward tomorrow, and they have something that keeps them anchored
Right.
in the bad situation. Or if God's given them one of them trials and tribulations that
Right.
he often likes to pass on to
Could you call astrology a religion?
people. Anyone who watches this will come and find me and kill me in my sleep if I say yes. So I'm not going to say yes, but I just think that spirituality is important to anybody, and I find that the most depressed people I know have the least spirituality.
Yeah.
I've observed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've tried to add it back into my life bit by bit, you know?
Yeah, and it really is about just like making it, your own way. Like
Yeah.
find your own philosophy. Like
'Cause
like you said, whatever gets you through the day.
Right.
Yeah,
As long
exactly.
as you're not doing anything
Yeah.
Or just
absolutely insane.
just like believing in something that's like bigger than just being a flesh being,
Being
you
a
know.
freaking RPG
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
whatever that is. And then that could it doesn't have to be like religion necessarily. It could just having like some idea that there's something greater than just like
Yeah.
physical being.
Well, and I do believe in the power of human manifestation. Like so many, like whether it's a building schematic that came from somebody's brain or it's an internet meme, those are both things that only exist through multiple humans coming together and putting their mental energy into like having a task happen or, completing a task. And to me, I'm like, that's everything they talk about in religion. That's everything they talk about in spirituality. And then it's also what they talk about in science. It's like, well, dude, that's just your fliboflavin chemical
Yeah.
going through your
Get in
axiom
line.
master. And it's like, right. But that's still what it is.
Right,
Like
yeah.
it's still the human brain making a building
Yeah.
exist out of nothing. So I do believe in manifestation a lot
Magic.
in that sense, and it just feels like magic. Like people are always so hung up on whether or not magic's real, and I just feel like I've said this in band practice. I think one time I feel like humans like they're so greedy. They expect magic to be something like shooting fireballs or teleportation magic. When it's like-
Leviosa.
when it's like, bro, to me, building the Empire State Building is just as magic as shooting a fireball, and probably even flashier magic than shooting a fireball in
Yeah.
ways, because you've got this thing that can withstand earthquakes, tornadoes, floods. It's 100 and some stories tall.
Yeah.
It has a radio service, has a cell service. It employs tens of thousands of people. It's a central part
even
of
if
these
you
people's lives.
if you took an iPhone and took it into like the 1930s, that would be magic.
Yeah. Even like some Sour
Yeah.
Patch Kids
Oh, yeah,
or
that would
something.
just be, that would
right.
just be
Yeah.
straight hocus pocus. Like even
Yeah.
the flash
No
on the
way.
camera would be like people would be like, "I'm blind."
Yeah.
What would you give him if you could go back and give him something? Be like, yo, check this out.
Oh, you can't say iPhone, you can't say Dorito, and you can't say Sprite. Those three are banned. You gotta have a new,
Sprite.
unique answer.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Dude, just like do a
Lot
kickflip
of
or something. I don't know.
things. Yeah.
That'd be fucking
Dude,
crazy.
even a skateboard. I was
just
Yeah,
thinking
like,
skateboard.
what's the point of
Like-
this? Does this help you till
Yeah,
the fields?
skateboard.
And you're like, no. Like I shred gnar.
You're like, what?
It's so
Hey,
crazy to
what?
think that skateboarding wasn't even a thing in the 1960s. Even.
Yeah. It's a pretty
Wow.
new
Yeah.
art
Just-
form.
Really
Or just like take a
is.
video of someone jumping down like El Toro.
Show 'em
There's
some
like,
Carlsbad
here you go.
clips.
Watch this. Have you guys seen the Potion Seller video?
Oh, I was gonna joke earlier that like, haha, pull up Potion Seller soundtrack, but I didn't know how relevant
There's
that would be.
there's like a vocoded version, and
Have you
I
seen the
transcribed
song?
it on guitar once.
What?
Yeah, like
Wait, have you not seen the music version? The music
No, I
video
haven't
version?
seen
It's
the
just the same
music
thing, but it's
version,
vocoded
hold
with
on.
like the auto tune thing.
Right.
Yeah,
They always would do that. I remember watching like the what was it? The Whale. Obviously, there is a rapist in Lincoln Park that climbed through your windows.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
snatching people up.
yeah, like the Schmo Yoho.
And then
guy.
they made a song to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so Potion Seller's song?
Yeah, Potion Solo like vocoded. Yeah, there it is, like
I
fourth
don't
one.
know what vocoded means.
You'll know when you hear it.
Is this one right here?
Yeah, that should be it.
Oh my god. Wait, you tabbed this out?
Yeah, I was kind of cheat mode because it's like they're real notes, so I could just
Right.
kind of follow along and stuff. But I was like really bored, and I came upon it, and I was like really like a long day of practice, and I was like, well, I'm warmed up. Like I want to screw around with this for a bit, and I ended up messing around with it. Strongest potions. You don't handle my potions.
The strings make me feel a type of way.
Yeah, right. Ooh, hit the gain for this.
You don't know what you ask, traveler. My strongest potions will kill a dragon. But you're a man. You need a seller.
I almost like this version better.
It
Banger.
really pulls you, like you said. You're
Yeah.
feeling that. It's not only the vocoded part, but there's the string accompaniment with
Yep.
it that really ties it all together.
There's the dark and the light, you know?
Yeah,
I think beautiful is the best way to
It is
describe this
beautiful.
composition.
visually as well.
That C0.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that you're going dent on that, huh?
I was gonna say there's like a
Yeah, I mean we don't have to watch the whole thing.
there's a comment on this one that's
Yeah.
like, if there is one thing left on Earth that I want to be left for for the remains of humankind, I want it to be this video.
It's
Might
like
as
that
well.
Twilight Zone episode. You know the one where the guy
The glasses.
the glasses
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But instead his eardrums pop and he can't listen to Potion Seller soundtrack anymore. He's like, there was so much time now.
He found the endless charger bank.
Yeah.
He had the endless cigarette.
He found the last Tesla coil.
The endless cigarette. The search for the endless
Yeah.
cigarette.
I swear to God, they give security at bars like cigarettes made of like tar. Like they just never go out. I've just noticed that.
Yeah,
I
maybe
just,
it's a
I just
prop.
smoked the tar ones.
Yeah, they're
Pure
always
tar.
like
You ever smoke a
60%
tar?
at completion. I think they come that way.
Or they're like all like just like those party ones, or like like the kid ones that where you just like puff it and like the powder.
That
comes
could
out.
very well be
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah.
Or
It's the Bart's Party store one.
Yeah,
American Spirits Black.
man.
I've never smoked one of
Toffee.
those.
Never smoked a black.
First cigarette I ever smoked was one of those, and it was bad, and I like hated it a
Did you
lot.
cough a lot?
Oh my god, yeah. Well, it was like
Well, and that's
you're
what you
acting
and your
cool.
roommates would keep though. After that too, I remember when I go to your guys' house on Bartlett, you guys would always have some insane like Blendertron cig to smoke on the deck, or just pipe tobacco.
Blendertron.
Or
yeah,
pipe
it's my
tobacco.
brand. Yeah, well, pipe tobacco was It's like
And then
a
I
little bit
started
different.
on spirits when I back when I was smoking.
They say they're healthier.
Yeah, I don't really smoke for the record
Bullshit.
anymore. Once I think a Spirit Black is your first cig, you're like, all right.
I think
Yeah,
Graham
topped out.
Graham put me onto this like Dutch bag of tobacco once.
Oh, that's just staple. If you hang out, Charles Arpin.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know if he's the beginner of this because I think people older than him put him onto the European reserve
yep.
tobacco.
Yep.
But I swear to God, like him and then like Loudon and Graham
Yep.
and like Jeremy, like all those guys
Totally.
got
The Twistas.
yeah, they got so big on having the Copenhagen it's like Copenhagen Reserve or like
Yeah.
there's the
Let's say-
Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's all-
I think
yeah.
it was
and
one
there's
of
the-
those,
there's
and
the
I got
Danish
it,
something.
and it
Danish
smelled
something.
so gnarly to the point where I wanted to puke almost when I opened up the bag.
Oh,
But
yeah.
After time, it aged really well. It did age well.
But I just mean like that was a whole wave among
So
the skaters
moist.
here. They're like, oh, we need the thing that previously only 80-year-old guys asked for. Like go to Knuckleheads and be like, hey, can you go to the back and search in the boxes for the one thing?
Yeah. They're like, are you sure?
I swear you got it. I was told.
Raw makes tobacco now. No, dude.
I need
need
the
the
$3
pouch.
bag
I need the old Dutchman.
with the little paper thing
Well,
attached
they were
to
like,
the bag.
and they were like
Dutchman.
$7 a pop. I mean, that was the other thing is they
Yeah.
rolled like 50 or 60 cigarettes, and
Yeah.
they were like $7 or $8. It was like
If you're
complete
smoking,
nonsense.
cigarettes, it's a better way to go, affordably.
If only they hit like
Financially.
anything.
Yeah.
The European
Yeah.
tobacco is so bogus. If as long as you're still not on the nick, you'll have a fine time in Europe. But I've found being there as a nick master,
I will
nothing there hits.
probably be on the nick.
Nothing hits.
Yeah.
I smoked
Interesting.
2 packs of cigarettes a day, and I had nick scratch. I had like nick.
What do you
itch.
think it is? Just how they manufacture it?
They only sell ultralights. So like, there's a Marlboro. You've probably never smoked it. It comes in a silver package. It's the Marb Ultralight.
They also
Okay,
still sell
no.
the quote like feminine cigarettes over there.
Yeah, the
like
Slims?
yeah.
They sell Slims and they sell Marb Ultralights. They sell Camel
Interesting.
Browns, which they don't
Yeah.
even sell here. Camel Browns
so different.
are the ultralight.
Probably
Camels.
because you can make spliffs pretty good with those too. But I
Well,
like a
they
spliff
have
with
this-
some
they
nice
have-
kick.
they have a really tight regulation on the whole,
That's
basically
true.
continent about nicotine content by like volume. So there's a lot of like we have filler in our cigarettes that actually like enhance the nicotine content. There's like
Yeah.
200 some chemicals in a cigarette that helps the buzz.
Because we're just addicts over
Yeah,
here.
they got
yeah.
they have none of that mumbo
Same with
jumbo
our
in their
coffee,
cigarettes.
too.
It feels like smoking a candy
Coffee,
cigarette to
Amped
me.
up.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Just so much sugar.
I mean,
Just-
do you remember? I was smoking 2 packs a day the entire time we were there,
Yeah,
two
they're not.
packs a day.
they're not
and I was
much.
smoking a pack
2
every.
packs a day.
And I was smoking a pack every 2 to 3 days back here. Like I was.
Damn.
Granted,
and,
there's
like,
probably a little level of like
I'm in Europe.
Excitement.
They burn
Yeah.
faster.
Je
I'm in
m'appelle-
Europe.
I'm in
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
Cigarette.
I drink Amstel now.
Yeah, I think I have a.
Heavy cream. Olive oil.
But I mean, I've never smoked cigarettes like that in my life except for that. So that
Wow.
I don't know. If only they.
Do you guys
if
do
they
nicotine?
No, I basically
No.
have all but quit. Like
And
I'll
you work
hit-
at a vape shop.
not like technically a vape shop. It's just
Okay.
like a
It's most CBD.
it's a wellness center.
Wellness. Yeah.
But,
vape wellness.
No, they don't really sell vapes there. But no, like I smoked for like I don't know, like 2.5 years or so, and then I just like had one of those moments where like I think I had like a really stressful move. It was like when it was probably like the third place we moved into. But I remember I was like, wow, I'm like chuffing. So I just like kicked the habit, and then
I think no, I remember it was like you made it a month into Prospect as a cig smoker,
yeah,
and we were all starting to sound like Marge Simpson's sisters.
all on the deck, just like
yeah, I remember you were the first to tap because I don't know if you remember the first year at Prospect, we all went round robin on quitting nicotine. At a
no, but
different point.
but I do remember like the move-in process was
You're
like,
the only one to stick with it for the most part.
yeah,
though.
but it was because like the move-in process was so stressful that I was like smoking a lot more. I remember I bought a pack, and it was like that moment where you realize how much you smoked in a day, and you're like, I'm disgusting. This is a lot.
Well, and I remember you were still big into the porch meta. I mean, I don't know if you ever went to the old skate house on Prospect. It was like Tony Mossens and Charles Arpin.
Regardless, there's a meta.
Tony Mossens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murrayadic legend.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. Our first show is Spoy was
I
there.
had
Right.
some.
I
I remember I had some Boss pickups there one time when I was working at Boss.
Yeah.
I
I'm
picked up,
sure
like,
you did.
Charles, Tony.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure that place was.
I know exactly where
common
it is.
track. Yeah.
80% of the day was spent smoking cigarettes on the balcony at the house we lived at, and I just remember like
80%.
Yeah, the house made
Not
me
an
start
exaggeration
smoking.
or anything.
Yeah,
Keegan
I
lived
lived there before they lived there, which was, and that house literally, I didn't smoke. I moved in there. It made me start smoking because all my roommates just sat on the porch and smoked. And then
I
after
want to
like,
hang out.
and then after like 6 months, I was like, I need to stop these. This is like, I was like getting to the point where I was just like, I'm turning the corner of like, this is not just the porch hang anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, and also I was working in a warehouse at the time, and there was talk about 80%, like that was like 80% smokers, and I was one of the youngest people that worked there, and I would go out on a smoke break, and I would just see like my potential future, and I'd be like, man, I gotta stop. Like, and so people would come up to me and tell me that
Newport
too.
100s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, like especially. Oh my god, if you're bombing out
Sig?
there, like,
yeah, bro, I got you.
no
Gives
thanks.
you a
Just
cigarette
this.
this
Yeah, it's mint
here
flavored.
you go.
Yeah, no, there's so yeah. I had to quit, and I don't there's only benefits that can come from that. But
Yeah. Seriously.
hopeless. Like I don't know. I think about it.
audio cut,
Wow.
or is it just my?
Wait.
Had
wait,
audio.
say something. Wait. Move the bottom thing. It's a little finicky.
XLR guy.
Oh, there
it is.
Ooh, you're back. I put some
I-
tape on it earlier.
Overdrive
probably
only from now
probably
on.
One of the number one things that keeps me up is I'm like, there is a 0% chance I quit nicotine.
Ever.
Yeah, basically.
Do you feel pressure because your stage name is associated?
I have felt pressure. I've been I don't feel pressure to smoke cigarettes necessarily.
right. Like,
I've been.
you're a
I
big
like-
boy.
I like nicotine though.
Well, you
Right.
have the social in the name, so people know not to
Yeah,
pressure. you
right,
too
right,
hard.
exactly. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
like daily cig.
Yeah. Look, guys, come on. You know.
I'm just
Yeah.
here for the social
Regular
cigarette.
I'm not hourly cig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
But I've been on Zins lately.
There you go, yeah.
nicotine
The Zins.
pouches, Yep.
I literally again I just talked up my nicotine addiction, like my tolerances to the roof. I popped one Zyn and I almost fell backwards.
Yeah, dude. I remember Charles was on those during quarantine, and we were
Yeah.
playing the Star Wars tabletop game.
exactly, yeah.
And I was having like a few drinks, and we were just playing the game.
Maybe
and
it
he
was
was
the
like,
drinking sitting stationary in the middle of the day popping Zins that was.
Do you want a
What are
Zyn?
you
Do you want a
talking?
Zyn right now?
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. What are you talking about? But no, I remember I was like in like this
Yeah,
like really
coffee one.
slouchy rolly chair,
Coffee Zyn.
and coffee flavored Zyn.
Coffee flavored. These are my roots. I started on coffee. I really like coffee. I've been on the citrus lately, but I don't like the mint ones.
Well, I want to see how that goes for you. Keep it in for until like 9:30, and we'll see what happens.
Seriously.
Looking at the timer.
It's about time
no.
we start talking about our bluegrass project.
Well, so things are changing up a little bit around this whole sport power shit. We're a country band now, just like
so
Totally Cash.
do you guys have yeah, right. Do you guys have any projects coming up?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
By hopefully in a while, I guess. Yeah, we're writing we're almost done with like the bones of album 2, basically.
Okay.
We have like a single out from October, and we want to put out like at least
Yeah.
1 or 2 more this year by the end of the year, and hopefully like hit recording more like powerfully by fall
Sick.
for the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it could be 2024 by the next one. Who knows? It could be late 23. But we have the skeleton of like a whole thing basically ready. Some of the songs are 100% done.
Right. Well, you guys are still floating off that album. You just released
Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
still less than 2 years ago. But yeah, no, I mean that's just kind of our nature is just like there's
2 years already.
Yeah.
not even. I mean,
Well,
it's
a year and
like-
a half.
Yeah,
Year and a half.
but there's
Yeah.
there's no like one Spoy writer. So like we all like write songs in varying degrees of like whoever comes up with something
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's like there's not like things move pretty quickly. And there's not really any like big pressure on one person to like do something because we all are like, here's this whole thing I have, or here's half an idea, or
Right.
whatever.
How often do you guys get together and jam?
Try to get 3 times a weekend. We try to go
Wow.
Tuesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
Sunday every week. I would say 60 to 70% of the time it ends up being 2 days a week. But that's
Okay.
why we schedule in 3 days every
Right.
week.
Just
Right.
Because in
Yeah.
case something
Yeah.
comes up. And then additionally, the kind of the way it works is like in the off season, whatever you would call it, we get to like we're less sort of strict about making all 3. But then like if we're trying to get a recording for a single, or we haven't played a show in a month or whatever, or we're writing songs, we'll try to hit all 3 for
Yeah.
at least a month or 2.
Gotcha.
And in recording, especially, obviously, you just like book more time.
Where do you
And-
guys record?
Well,
We're gonna do it in our space now.
Yeah, lately
we,
it's
we
been us.
invested in some infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very little, but effective, I guess, infrastructure.
Totally.
Basically, it's like a 8-channel board and 14 mics that we can arrange in different
Sick.
configurations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just-
then like a vocal mic
But
that's
eight
slightly
at a
better.
time. Eight at a time, and then Jack built a recording box for vocals out of like some
Yeah,
some
like
foam
amps
and
and like a
wood.
bobin. Like you can use it to like isolate an amp, or like you can set it up on a table and like go into it and sing vocals.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It was
Yeah.
basically like, how much does $350 get us at Music Go Around?
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Spoy- surprisingly enough.
Spoy's not a,
A
money
lot,
printing
actually.
band, so, and none of us are terribly rich. So
Right.
creativity is going to be the path forward on most things, most of the
And
time.
I think limitations like pretty like resoundingly usually are a good thing in art. Like
making do with what you have.
yeah,
Right.
usually
Yeah.
the
And that
the
like
best
makes
stuff
a
comes out.
staple of kind of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't want like a Spoy early on album being super duper produced and
Well, right, and like our first
really
album was
clean,
kind of someone
you know?
else's sound. We
Oh,
let like a
okay.
guy who had a really, I don't want to say let a guy. I mean, it was someone we've worked with a lot and we have like an
Gotcha.
outside of professional rapport with. But definitely the way he records is like his sound.
I
Yeah.
remember
And,
talking
like-
to Graham a little bit
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Very
But then the
punk.
last single
who we
you
recorded
guys
with in high school.
released was kind of
Was
more
us.
of what you
Yeah.
guys wanted.
Yeah, that was
And-
just us recording and
Yeah.
mixing. And I think,
In Deep Cut, for anyone who made it to the 90-minute mark, we recorded with the guy once in high school under a project called Burnt Orange, and then he even recorded with him once before that in a project called The Viceroys, where it was
Yeah.
him and another guitarist.
Keegan's
And-
brother.
The Burnt Orange project was like a psychedelic rock thing. It was like poppy. It had like clean vocals. It had a lot of jazz chords and progressions. It had a lot of improv jam. It was like very silly, very whimsical. More in that
Just like teenage stuff. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
were really trying to like write like on particularly lyrically. I was trying to write lyrics that like I hadn't like heard before. Like I wanted to. I was like listening to all these songs and like I liked a lot of different stuff. And I had like kind
Yeah.
of like a thing that I was really into like '90s noise rock and stuff, where there was like a huge, just like barrage of just like anti like. I don't know, pop lyrics and like they
like Ween or like Talk
and the
or
scratch acid and stuff like that, like just like weird
Minutemen.
goofy lyrics where it's just like how do I write something, because I felt so uninspired like by like lyrics and stuff, and it was like always the thing that came to me the hardest was like, because we'd always just like jam, like we're all like players, and like I
Yep.
feel like Spoy at the end of the day is kind of a players band first, like
Yep.
we want it to be a band where anyone can do what they want, and like
Yep.
I think like having AJ as a drummer is a perfect example. Like
Yeah,
he's,
good fit.
Yeah,
Definitely.
he's like a very like project-driven guy. Like he really wants to.
He's
like,
busy. That's a workhorse right there.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's always going. He's like everything is transitioned either between a commitment or a short nap, and that's like his whole 24/7.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Short nap.
Yeah.
And like, so we, that's another thing is with like practice schedules. We try to go because like AJ's like Keegan's in a whole other band. Keegan plays with the Unitaskers, which goes in and out of busyness depending on the time of year.
Yep.
And then you've got AJ who's doing 2 other projects right
Yeah.
now on top of doing his own solo recording stuff.
Holy shit.
And like, then he's doing us 3 times a week, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then Spoy's
Yeah.
summer got really busy really fast.
Yeah,
for upcoming summer?
we've been booking a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Lots of
We've,
stuff.
we've
Exciting.
got an almost like a social sig size poster to post.
Keep
And,
booking this shit, which is funny because I'm trying to dial back a little bit this summer and
Yeah.
only
you have,
book
you
a
have,
little
you
bit
have run
shortly.
this
Yeah.
town ragged. I don't blame you for taking a break. Like you have hit it
Yeah.
harder than almost anyone else around. I would say. Like
Yeah.
your grind over the last 4 years is definitely like one of the.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Last spring, I would say, till over the summer and even into the fall was just almost a show every weekend. And even
Yeah.
this
It feels
spring
like you
has been
never
pretty
stop
fucking-
looking from the outside in, like through social media and going to
Yeah.
different events and like
Yeah.
seeing you everywhere. Definitely feels like there's not much downtime.
Yeah,
in
you're always
between
doing stuff. This last like 3 weeks, honestly, I've felt like a lot of burnout and just a lot of just like, especially with making content and doing
Yeah.
the podcast and stuff. I had to reschedule some last week. I just need to take some time, to just like regroup and refocus.
Well, you
and-
put
Right.
a lot of lineup changes
And-
too, right? Over the last like 4 years, you've had,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always look at it as like my project.
right.
Right.
At the
That's
end
what I
of
mean.
the
So
day,
then you have to have those
and
guys
this-
on deck, and you
right.
have to secure
And I had
musicians.
like
and-
Isaac Rapinski, and he got too busy with like Moonglow and doing music full time and all that, and
Right.
his jazz stuff. And
Well, so now you've had Jacob
Jacob,
Slade for a
yeah,
while,
Austin,
and I imagine
Kai,
he'll get really
yeah.
busy someday.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
you were doing Bug Moment,
Yeah, I was doing
you
Bug
know,
Moment
and,
bass for a
like,
little bit,
which was
yeah.
insane because you were still gigging like twice a week as Social Sig at the same time.
Yeah, they're a busy band too.
And they're a
Yeah.
really
They're
busy band.
Yeah,
I imagine
Yeah.
that was exhausting. Like you looked like
keep it
at your
going,
album
yeah.
release party, it looked like the first time you'd cut loose in like a full 3 calendar year is what it felt like at your party here.
cut loose. Oh,
Like it was like the first time
you.
you'd just like been like, all right, like I'm relaxing. Like you looked so much less stressed than I'd seen you at any other event
Interesting.
for like a whole
Yeah.
year before that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just always been feeling like I always have to do something. I
Yeah.
think that's just the kind of person I am. I always got to have like
Yeah.
something going on, otherwise I get a
I
little
get
sad
that.
boy. Like,
I'm the
always
same
gotta
way.
be-
Like I gotta there's like I think it's like a Picasso quote. I was telling this to Keegan the other day in the car, but it's
Yeah.
like genius can strike you, but it has to catch you working.
Yeah.
Where like you have to keep doing it even if you're so uninspired. You're like, I hate the guitar. I haven't found a new band that I like that like has really just like like put a fire under my ass or got me excited, or like even anything. Like, you can be, inspired by anything, not just a band, but like, like it's, you have to just like get up and like touch those strings and like
Right.
do something.
Yeah.
And like, you're a very, versatile person. Like you're very multifaceted with the way you orient your whole project. So yeah, like you have to kind of like, I get that. You got to stay busy and like do something and like just keep working, even if you don't really want to like
Right.
wait for that moment where you're like, oh, that's actually like a really good idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure, you
honestly,
guys-
like guys like you and Bug Moment and like Nile Club and Shuby, you guys come up a lot in our practices because, in a way we do look up to you guys in the sense of the always busy, like but one of the things is we kind of get trapped in our writing and our jamming and our like trying to be weird, and like we get like in our space for a long time and go between gigs. But I feel like we definitely are always like looking to the other bands in the city that are like doing more work and like being more productive, and the whole like something we never really talked about because the 3 of us have been playing in bands together for like 7 or 8 years.
Sure.
Even
Yeah.
this boy
Yeah.
is 3 years old, and it wasn't until this taking a stab at it through Spoy that like we really learned how multifaceted you need to be as an independent music group, like
Especially
how
nowadays more
yeah,
than
like
anything.
between however many of you are in the band and like a key role, you have to split all the responsibilities. Like you don't have any employees, you don't have any managers.
Yep.
You're collabing with other artists who are at the same level as you, who are also people trying to push their brand and stuff like
Yep.
that. And like that's definitely like I don't know, just like a constant challenge, but also the exciting part is the like trying to find creative ways to stay busy and then also do new things.
Yeah.
and all that. And I would say that like that's definitely been one of the positive influences being in Milwaukee is having so many other bands around us that are just so busy.
Right.
They're just so productive all the time.
Yeah.
Like they never stop, and it's definitely gives us an incentive to like try and keep at it more. Like I feel like if we were in a lazier scene, there would be way less. Like I don't know how Shuby does it coming from Oshkosh.
Right,
You know, there's got to be no
And
incentive.
I don't even think they all live there.
No, they hit
don't.
Madison quick.
Yeah.
For sure. But I just mean like coming from a more like remote area.
Spread out.
I don't know how
yeah.
I'd find the incentive and motivation to stay busy all the time if I
Right.
didn't have people around me
I'd
constantly
just be doing
outperforming.
bedroom beats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't
For
have
real.
people constantly outperforming my level of productivity around me.
Yeah, but I
Right.
guess at the end of the day, like I really do feel lucky to have like found like people that like I got to like grow with and like share music, you know,
Yeah.
ideas with at a young age where it was like, well, I don't know who else I'd want to play with at this point. You know,
Right.
like in
Yeah.
a band setting, it's like
Yeah.
we've been playing together since we were teenagers. So
Yeah.
it's like we have done so much like sharing and like there's so much like camaraderie over the years
Chemistry.
and chemistry mainly
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
like such a, like he said, like such a jam oriented band. Like
Definitely.
we really try and keep the freeform spirit like alive as much as possible and like jam every single practice and improvise and like record everything and just try and like constantly build chemistry and like find something new to do,
Right.
which like you said we can get caught up in big time because like we
Yeah.
really like it's just us in our windowless room like jamming
heat,
and-
no air.
Yeah, but
yeah.
at the same time, having that is a good base, you know. To
Oh, no, yeah, I couldn't
just,
live
like,
without it.
Build off of,
Yeah.
and maybe in like 2 years, 3 years, like it'll be a different, like your weeks will look different, I guess.
Right.
But as far as what you're doing with
Mhm.
each other and what your reach is, it's exciting. You guys got some shows upcoming in the summer though too,
Yeah,
especially-
we're trying to get out of
because you
state
guys
more.
don't gig a whole. Like
It
pretty
goes in
often.
bursts,
Yeah,
and then
it's
we
like
frequently
bursts.
play
Sure.
the same places over and over again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so this summer,
Cactus, we'll be seeing you a lot in May and June.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're-
think we're
Yeah, okay.
playing like 3 or
As
4
we
times.
always do.
but we did get a Minnesota show booked.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, another Chicago one coming up.
Yeah,
and we got
yeah.
those on back-to-back days, so you know we
Hell
get
yeah.
to play around.
That's a damn tour.
Yeah,
That's
that's,
a-
our first. That's our first
Seriously
tour.
though, seriously.
Yeah.
well, and I think we have like from the 17th of May to the 10th of June, we have 5 or 6 dates, which is like pretty busy for
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
And we're really conscious of being really loud too, because a lot of, like I said, one of my favorite things about Milwaukee is you get a huge diversity in the bills that are booked.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
you never know what you're gonna see on stage. But Spoy's like really loud, and we know that, and
Yeah.
like we sometimes come into gigs where everybody's quieter, and then we're like really loud, and I feel like sometimes we're trying to keep an eye on like not being in Milwaukee too much as really loud people, because I feel like if people aren't there for your noise level, they're going to remember you more in a possibly like not necessarily negative light, but they're just going to be like, oh, those guys are a lot to handle right now. Like I was trying to go see indie rock today. So we try not to book too many Milwaukee gigs like right in a row, you know, so that creates a lot of downtime. I feel like in between, where we'll go like 3 or 4 months without really playing any shows, and nobody's ever said anything to us like you got to stop playing. But we
Right,
always feel this
right.
weird feeling of like, oh, we played Cactus like 5 times between January and May this year, and it's like maybe we should stop taking Cactus shows for a while. I don't know if
I mean,
everybody
as long
does
as there's
that.
still people coming out to see your show, I don't think that there's.
Well, I think that's a big part of the thing too. Is we'll play a bunch of shows, and then shows 8 and 9 will have like nobody at them, and it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So I've had that. I mean, in the back of my head, I just don't want to overplay the Milwaukee scene. You know,
No,
if
right.
I'm playing
I-
the same.
I
set.
kind of just chalk
Right,
it up
same
to that,
set, same
basically.
city, same clubs, and it's like
If you want to go somewhere else at some point, and there's so many places that are like in hours reach even that
Yeah,
like
right.
will have
Yeah.
you and
Yep.
will be a crowd of new faces anyhow. So like, yeah, you could just shuffle down to Chicago and play like a bar as empty as you might Cactus on a Wednesday, but have like those 15 people be like, yeah. you
Right.
know,
So I guess like
you know.
short answer, we want to be a year-round gigging band, but
Yeah.
we also recognize that you can't stay in the same city year-round gigging. So
We need to get on like the touring wagon a little bit more, which we're delving into.
Yeah, building
Yeah,
up
it's
that cash.
hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
it's hard.
It's hard.
It's
Especially when
expensive.
everyone's got
it's hard.
full-time jobs. Too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
real tough.
Yeah.
The summer will be good practice because we're kind of bouncing all over the local Midwest area throughout
Yeah.
the whole summer, and we're not playing too many just Milwaukee shows, and we're even playing a couple spots in Milwaukee we haven't played coming up. You know, we got Flying Toad Circus Backroom coming up real
Yeah,
soon.
I was
with
gonna
Very
talk
excited.
about that.
That's going to be
Eventually.
really
Yeah, after
exciting.
this.
This is our first show with Shuby, so
Yep.
we're really excited for that. We've got 2 others booked this summer, so we're really excited
Fuck
to connect
yeah.
with them more.
Yep.
You gotta love the Wisconsin made up S word band. You know, that's if
Shuby's
we
boy.
got
Yeah.
2 bands, so it's a genre now.
Plug
Yeah,
Moment
it's
has a
just
type. They got
Yeah.
a type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got a type. They want a bunch of
Spice,
weird
Shuby.
looking stubble guys with a made up S word opening their show, and
Oh,
more power to
yes.
them. We're
Oh,
very hyped. I mean, you know, I feel like we have a lot of appreciation for the bug kids. We call them
Definitely.
kids because we're getting older. They're fine.
Really
They're adults
nice.
too.
Yeah. How old are you guys?
Oh, I'm 24. I'm not. We're the same age.
I just turned
24.
26.
Yeah, I'm 27, so
27.
Yeah.
Still
Oldest.
young.
Yeah.
Still young. I always just
Still
talk.
young.
I'm always just talking shit. But you know, we do really appreciate them for giving us this opportunity. It's gonna
Definitely.
be
That
pretty
show's
hype.
gonna be nuts. It's gonna sell out. I told Jasmine it's gonna sell out. And they're
Yeah, well,
like,
we're
I don't know if it's
hoping
gonna
and-
sell out. It's gonna
Yeah.
sell out.
Well,
With walk-ins, if you guys are over halfway sold, I think it'll sell out for sure at the door. If
Got to get those
anything.
walkie-talkies.
yeah.
Well, and they've been doing a really good job of promoting it. You know, they're another one of those really busy bands. You
Yep.
know, and so
Yep.
they've been staying on top of it way more than we have. I'd say. I mean, it's their show. I would hope, right?
Yep.
It's their album
Yep.
release. but
Exactly.
I just mean they've been doing a lot of work on promoting it.
Yep.
And they even had all of us at Aiden's apartment to do some promo stuff. Which
Yep,
was
saw
good.
that.
Yeah.
Saw
Mainly
that.
eating tacos, but that was part of it.
No, we call that promo stuff. And
Eating tacos and watching Bionicle videos.
Yeah, a lot of Bionicle stop animation.
yeah, you can't hang out with Aiden without the Bionicle stop motion.
Shit's pretty cold.
But
Yeah.
you know, we've always talked like in a band about like, you know, how do we get on a bigger stage? You know, sometimes we feel like our sound suffers from smaller, more low fidelity stages just because we turn up our amps loud and then the vocals get buried. And having somebody who's not us in charge of that branch of the experience is just
I would
the better
I
way
would
to
say
go.
the same
Yes.
thing with I was talking with Jacob Slade about this with Shuby, especially because every time we played a show with Shuby, it's been a DIY show, and it's like they fucking rip. And specifically at the Sea House this last time we saw them, they were so fucking good. I would love to see them at like a venue where the
Right.
sound is mixed.
Yeah.
and
This
we
is,
can
that's why this is
hear
just gonna be, this is
everything.
gonna be crazy.
It's
I
gonna
think.
be
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
killer.
And,
It's gonna
like,
be sick. I'm so stoked.
I think we're just really excited to get on a real soundboard. Like we've been
Yeah.
waiting. We've always been cooking for 3 years, and like not to develop too much of an arc over it or whatever. But it's just like I think we are really excited to get on a big
Yeah.
board, and like really see if we've been right this whole time about
Yeah.
that hi-fi quality, about being like Spoy is just a soundboard away from that sound we want.
yeah.
So personally, you know, it's like we're really excited for Bug Moment and
Even
their album,
on
and they've had a
the-
lot of. What were you
Yeah,
gonna say?
like at the back room, especially when you're on that stage, you can just hear everything so well through the monitors, and it's just so comfy to the point where you can just trust that like whatever you're hearing is like you feel like you can hear everything going on.
It's so funny though, because to me at least, like some of the most like questionable sound setups have been our best sounding shows to me. Where like we played a
Fair
gig
enough.
at High Dive where
Right.
I was asking about the setup because just nothing was set up when I got there, and there was like the bones of a drum kit. And then he was like, "Oh, I have this like weird old like nothing brand like PA system," and it was like all like one compact piece. It was like the PS2 of like PA systems.
They had cord splitters running through crusty carpet attached to it.
Oh
You know,
my
like
Yeah.
up through a
God.
bench.
Yeah,
And I was just like, yeah, no, this is like what we practice with basically. So if we set it up right, like this is gonna sound like normal. Like,
Yeah.
this is gonna
Yeah.
work. And I set it up, and I don't know if it was just like the positioning of like the PAs or what, but like I like with how loud we are, I could hear my vocals the whole time, and I was like really
Wow.
going in, and I was like, oh my god, like my
Yeah.
earplugs are like touching my inner ear, and I can still hear my vocals clear as day,
Yeah.
and like I can hear every instrument. I was like,
Yep.
those shows you just innately get into
Yeah.
so hard too, because you're like, wow, I'm not like in my head the whole time, like, can I hear my voice?
Right.
Where's it? What's
The
the
big
monitor
thing
doing?
being
What are
a
they
singer
hearing?
too, like
Yeah.
hearing your own vocals is huge.
Oh, yeah,
Just like
yeah.
constantly
Yeah.
wondering if
When we're
can
so
they hear
damn
this?
loud, and that's honestly
Right,
mostly our
right.
fault.
It's fun to play loud, and I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like we also don't sound as good if we like turn down too much,
Right.
because then it's like
Right.
heavy music that's like the amps
Quieter.
are quiet. It's just weird.
Well, that's,
You just
that's
kind of have
why,
to break your vocal cords and just trust the process.
I don't know.
well, and that's why I'm excited for a more like noise gated, regulated board, because you know we're not like that angry, right? So we like our songs to have some slow sections and some breath in them, you know. And there's lots of clean guitar sections and clean vocal sections, but we love having that option of getting heavy, and you know, in that dive
Right.
bar circuit. You know, it's like, God bless the sound guys at the dive bars for coming in like every weeknight to like mix nobody bands like us, you know, day in, day out. Like, we love the sound
Yeah,
guys.
I
But
remember I felt bad because the last show we played at High Dive, he was like, we sound checked literally for some reason one of the quietest sections of our whole set.
yeah, that was crazy.
And he was like, all right, thanks. And if you could just like keep that volume the whole set, that'd be awesome. And I just gave him this
Yeah.
like
Nope.
pitying look, like that's not gonna happen at
Sorry,
all.
dude.
and he was like live mixing it, and it's like parts of it were really good, but he was live mixing the whole thing.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like
That was
he was
dumb.
trying to keep up with our transitions and like the changes in
Yeah.
tempo and volume, and like who had gain pedal on where. Do they both have gain pedal? Is he on channel 1 or 2? Is he got the preamp turned on? Am I using my distortion?
Sound guy
Right.
shit.
Sound guy shit.
I feel
and
like
it's
what you guys do during a live show is so unique and different from what I do, because I remember seeing you guys at X-Ray when we did the Bug Moment
Yeah.
show.
Sure,
Oh,
yeah.
I think that might have been the last time I saw you live, but anywho, just y'all playing live is so technical with your tempo and your transitions.
Right.
It's like, how do you remember this and where you are?
It's a lot of
Is it a
practice,
lot of
like-
improv, or is it a lot of just your...
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about those speedrunners earlier, where we run it back over and over again, and a lot of what you would call runs die in practice a lot, because especially when we're putting stuff together, like, you know, like, God bless anyone who's ever played drums for us before, because we've been playing
Yeah.
together since high school, and then they come in and we're like, okay, this is how we do it, and like learn it really quick because we've got gigs booked and we want to write an album and we've got the songs for that, and you're gonna have to learn all of that even though we've been writing it for years. So like, go.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I'm always feeling for whoever's sitting behind the kit. And yeah, it's especially, it seems like because it's like, for me, it's like I don't notice it as much, because like there are a couple songs like on our first album, for example, that like Jack Keegan and I put the bones of together in like 2017, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't really think about the memorization that much because the songs are so old.
Yeah.
Right.
And like some of it was like written in the basement when we were like 18 and 19, living together outside of high school,
Jesus
like in a
Christ.
basement. But then for the drummer, they come in and they have 50 minutes of music to remember all those changes of coming from 0 to 100, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a process getting somebody like acclimated to it, and the memorization, like
Yeah,
it seems to be
right.
the biggest thing of like, they get the mechanics, they get the notes. Our music's not that crazy. We're not that technical, but like you said, there's a lot of those speed changes and volume
Yeah.
changes. And I've just noticed that.
How's AJ been?
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Great.
He
Yeah.
snapped in.
Yeah.
It took him like,
He's a good drummer.
yeah, it
He's
took him
very
like
good.
3 weeks, 4 weeks to like get to the point of being able to like play through a couple songs and jam. And then like we were like gig ready in like less than 2 or 3
Fuck
months.
yeah.
And I think the coolest thing about it was like when I first reached out to him, like I just asked him like basically on a limb. I was like, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know of you from this guy. I've seen you play with your old band. Like,
Yep.
do you want to, would you consider this? And he was like, yeah, I've seen your set before, which like surprised me. I didn't even know he was really in town. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he said, yeah, it's not really like, I don't really like know if it's like quite my thing, but like, I'm willing to just jam and see if we gel. And like that to me right away was like, oh, like this guy. He means business, This
Yeah.
guy's a player. Like he's coming into uncharted territory, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are fucking weird, but I can probably figure it out."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Hell yeah, this is cool." And so he came in, and we jammed a bunch of times, and like, because we kept it just strictly improv. Like the first like 2-3 weeks of practice,
Sure,
we just
yeah.
like jammed stuff out, and we had some like just noticeable growth that whole time with like
Wow,
us
yeah.
just like slowly kind of building the uniform chemistry. And then we started hitting some songs, and yeah, we started like writing stuff pretty fast.
Yeah,
So
fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that was really exciting too with him is he was like instantly like wanted to like do homework outside of practice and was like taking stuff home and then like coming back and being like, I learned this already.
Yeah,
Which like
he's-
really
yeah.
just
Yeah, because that's like
Super
another thing
active.
is There's a lot of extracurricular work in the band too, because the practices are more for like showing what you did on your own time and then coming in and putting it together. Doesn't always work out that way. We do a lot of workshopping in the practice space.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the goal is to come in and everybody's taking a look at this week's targets basically, and at least like sat down with their hands and has
Yeah.
like touched
Yeah.
it and
Mapped
worked with
it out.
and like at least has a feeling of it in their head.
Yep.
And then trying to more stitch it together in the practice space.
And a lot of that can come from sometimes, depending on like the like brevity of the song, is like, did we improvise it or not? Because sometimes we're like coming in with like bare bones, because like we've pretty much written a song like most ways you probably can, just because of just like, okay, Keegan wrote this part, then Harry wrote that, and then I wrote this, and then I came with the whole song. Okay, Harry came with this whole song, and like sometimes it's like we like have a song that's like so belonging to, it's like an orphan song, like it belongs to nobody, because it's like like the beginning riff that we've decided is the intro is like a jam, and then we're like, okay, well this is just like a nowhere song, and then we'll just like we'll take this from this improv and take 7 minute 43 seconds to 9 minute 22 seconds from this song, and then take his verse and my chorus, and then just like graft it together. Like I think especially for the first album, you can hear a lot of that on there, where it is just like, this is just like point A to point B in such stupid intervals. Like where is this going? And there's a lot of that where it just like is just like basically stapling little sections at rapid fire together.
So did you three go to high school together?
We did.
Yes.
Where at?
Wauwatosa
East.
East.
Tosa East.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was
Interesting.
class of 2013,
yeah.
2015, 2016.
And did you guys know each other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so his
Yeah.
younger brother
Okay.
was Jack's like best friend, song
Okay.
creative partner.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We were all in theater club together. Keegan was, but he was just a couple years ahead of us.
Yep.
Keegan did all the same things we did, but was just a couple years ahead, so we didn't have as much like peer-to-peer interaction. But then Jack and Keegan's brother started a project, and then a couple years down the line, they wanted a bassist, and I started jamming with them. And then Keegan's brother and him, despite both being musicians, not to explain your story, started jamming together, even though they'd been brothers, both guitarists, didn't jam together, then started jamming together at the same time that they had been jamming, and then introduced me in.
And we bought a
then-
drum kit.
Yeah, so then so like spring, so it's like we started playing together. I started playing with Jack and Keegan's brother in summer of 2015, and then we formed as a band in spring of 2016.
Okay.
And then that was Burnt Orange, which there's an EP on Bandcamp out there somewhere. There's two. That's right. There's a live album that
There's
we played. We
at
played-
the Ronald McDonald
Yeah,
House.
We played the Ronald McDonald House.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like
Isn't that
where all the
insane?
sick kids are.
Yeah, the charity Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, we played.
House.
We played a show there.
Wow.
For sure.
It was actually kind of
Interesting.
sick.
It was really good. It was
Yeah.
the setup was absolutely insane. It was like we
We're
were
just
playing
in the lobby.
Yeah, we were like in the lobby in the center of like it was like the epicenter of the whole building, and then there was like stories rising up like a hotel. Where
Oh
you have,
sure, yeah.
You have like the railing that like ascends the whole thing, and you get to
Yeah.
see the like numerous floors. And like I remember playing, and it was an all instrumental set. Like we didn't have like anything. We just jammed
mics.
together. We
Hey,
just,
we didn't bring any songs either. It was all
No.
improv.
Wow.
yeah, there was like bones to like one or two, but it was like mostly improvised. And then like I remember just like looking up through the set at like the skylight and just seeing like people just like kind of drift
kinda
out, be like, "What the
watching.
hell is
Yeah.
going on down?
Oh,
There's never a
that's-
band here." You know?
That's such a trippy show. Just looking up
It
like,
was-
levels and levels of just
Yeah.
people coming and going.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then Miles Keegan's brother decided he was a world citizen and went off on this globe-trotting journey, basically, where he went to like Colorado and Costa Rica and Nepal and the Bahamas and Thailand, and he was
Badass.
just, and he's
Yeah,
still going. He was in
sick.
South Korea recently, right, or Singapore. He was
Thailand.
Thailand again.
Yeah,
He's a nomad.
Well, he's a
Traveling
photographer.
Yeah.
So
And he's been doing
Sick.
drone stuff specifically, which is in really high demand. So
Sure,
people are
yeah.
sucking him all over the planet to like
Yeah.
fly a guy up 300 feet and shoot some elephants walking.
Super sick.
Yeah, no, he's living
Yeah.
life. Like,
yeah, for sure.
we're
yeah.
just in Milwaukee making our little tunes.
Yeah.
But it left us in kind of a limbo period for a long time.
He was the drummer.
Yeah. He was-
Well,
yeah.
he was a guitarist, and then he just was the jackest of all trades of the four of us. So his half-assed attempt at drumming was the best of the four of us.
Gotcha.
So we had three
Gotcha.
guitarists and a bassist, and someone
Turned
had
one into a drummer.
Someone had to
He
do
just
drums.
happened to get
Yeah.
the best, quickest. Like he's
Right,
he's
right.
kind of one of those guys where like he picks up an instrument and he can just somehow play it. We're like,
he's
okay.
got some sort of just like musical connection brain where he
Yeah.
like picks up like a straw and like a
very
rubber
savant.
band and it's got a
Yeah,
wash tub bass.
He's a
in
very
1
rhythmic
second.
fella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like even the way you play guitar was like more
Yeah.
finger style
Very
slapping
percussive.
than
Yeah,
notes.
slapping,
You know?
Yeah, I remember there
Gotcha.
was like a maybe still, but like there was a period where I was jamming with him where like I would ask him for a pick and he would look at me like it was like a caveman with fire, like that had discovered it. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, he would grip. It
Yeah,
was
like
crazy.
guitar
He'd
pick?
be shredding like straight 16th note runs for like a minute, but his right hand was this like monkey claw gripping the strings and pulling them out. He would like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was like very unique, very him.
Interesting.
But then he left and Keegan went and finished art school and started playing with the Unitaskers, and then Jack and I were trying this 2-piece deal for a while that was just very silly.
I feel like I saw y'all at the Murray
Yes.
Attic once.
You were
Yeah.
there?
Did we have a show together? Or I think I
No,
just
we were
went.
working door for
No.
you.
I think I just
Oh,
went.
We were
yeah.
your doormen.
Yeah, we were the door, and it was you were playing a solo.
It was your first. It
set.
was your first set.
yeah.
It was your
Okay,
first
yeah,
set.
now I remember. I was gonna say it because we didn't
Yeah.
play together, but yeah,
Oh,
I remember.
and funny enough,
talked
we had
outside.
Keegan's brother working door with us that night.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's-
we were
At the Murray Attic.
insane.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were like I
Wow.
drank like a full 6-pack of Tall Boy like extra strength Reds hard
Oh
cider.
my, yes.
And like I remember just being the worst doorman a gig had ever seen.
It was also
Do you
like
remember that?
I remember you being horrible.
yeah, you were the worst.
You were letting everyone in.
No, it was
you
so,
had
it
no
was so
idea where you
silly.
were.
But it, like the funny thing about playing like, or at least doing security at shows like that is like everyone is usually 95% of the time very amicable, and they're really happy and want to show excitement to shell out that $5 and support local music, and are very cool about
We
it.
were great for that.
Yeah, but then you get that 5% who are just like, what I should pay the $5.
Right, right.
Oh,
That's where you come in.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're
Actually-
the security, so we have to be like, look, guys,
Gotta
pay the $5.
These guys worked
real hard on that music up there. You know, we gotta like lay down the law of it.
And we had a Venmo, and then we were using my personal Venmo account for a while, and like so I would have like $500 in my Venmo balance that I'd have to send to Isaac, where then he would deposit it to his bank account, then go to the ATM, and it was like the whole thing was really funny.
Yeah, a bunch of Jimmies and Johnnies, you know,
Yeah,
figuring it all out. Hey, I got the
I
money.
feel like I
from
did
him.
see you guys play this like the duo set.
That's
I don't know.
insane if you
So
did.
Were you under Spoy or a different
We
name?
were under Kanan,
Kanan.
with a K. It was K-O-E.
We named it after a high school biology teacher. I don't know why.
And,
I remember that.
Well,
Yeah.
did you ever go to Tony's one hardcore show? There was
I don't
one
think so.
because that was it. It was,
Yeah, it was a hardcore show, and then
Well,
we were headlining.
Who was on that bill? Was
Hartwell?
Honey Creek on there?
No, but that would have definitely been one of the
I've
ones we were
seen Honey
working door
Creek at
because we did
Murray Attic.
door at the Honey Creek show. We did door
That
at
show
the
was
Shackletons.
crazy.
We
Honey
did door
Creek.
for Drop Bear.
Shackletons were cool.
We did door for you.
Drop Air, I remember.
because we were doing
'Cause
it.
they-
we did
they-
it for like 6
They
months.
did a Valerie cover. I feel like I remember Drop Air Collective.
Yeah, that was
right?
that band that was like I don't even remember. I don't know. There's so many bands.
Yeah.
I try to remember
Yeah.
everybody.
They threw a lot of shows there.
They did.
Yeah, they
And,
were
like,
one of the
Tony was
longest
really
running,
good at
like,
booking people
attic
abroad.
bands.
Like he
Yeah.
got a lot of
Yeah,
Minneapolis and Chicago
definitely.
bands.
All right, I gotta take another leak.
All
Look
right,
it up.
all right. We got a
Alright,
chance
Box
to
sesh.
flex this improv here again.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can piece together the entire versus Tom Morello battle from Guitar Hero 3.
All you
Yeah.
gearheads out there, how does this sound? there's a lot of layered technique that it goes into screaming, and it kind of starts with like a general like false chord scream. You have to like exercise like a Patrick Star routine where you're like you have to like get that like the dog in the pound type thing, and work it up to the point where you're using your full like chest and like stomach in there and like pushing, but then also applying distortion on top of like an actual like sound singing voice where you can actually like like you can sing the note, but then you can also like add that and then texturize on top of it, and like it's just layers and layers of stuff. And
I think it's
yeah,
also with screaming, you can like kind of make it work by forcing it, but it's like a bad way to go about it because you can hurt yourself. And it still doesn't sound as good either. So it's like learning to, weirdly you have to like screaming, like you would think like your body like tells you to like tense up because you feel like screaming is like this thing where you're like
it's in my soul, it's in my inner.
But really you have to like relax more than like normal singing realistically.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's more of like a, just like release or something.
Yeah. And then at the same time, there's some techniques where like it does cause like a relaxation along with the strain, like a fry vocal, like a black metal sounding vocal is like a mix where you have to do that, but then you have to like choke it up. It's like a mix of like a weird amount of strain and straining, but also being loose where you can like get the breath out. And it's hard, and I feel like most of the time when I do it best is when I'm damaging myself at least slightly. I don't know. It's funny that he went away because he's probably he hands down is the best at screaming.
He's kind of the authority on screaming.
Yes, and I know about technique. Look, I'm a YouTube expert in terms of the thing.
Yeah.
In terms of being a practicer of the preachings, I don't know if I can say I'm 100% the way there. At least I try to be.
Yeah.
I can talk about like falsettos and the Beach Boys and the Valley Valley Boys,
little Thom Yorke.
Yeah, I can talk about Thom. I can talk about Buckley, and I can talk about
the Buckleys.
Yeah, I can talk about Frankie.
Yeah.
Sherry. Yeah. Did you see he's still doing his thing?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like 87. He's still doing it.
That's commendable.
It is. Even Tony Bennett was out on the road at like 90. So.
Honestly, though, I could feel like being one of those dudes where you go play Vegas. You're like in your 80s, and
you're basically just like a Disney animatronic, and they just put a backing track over it, and you just do the motions with like the mic, and you like move your arms around and wear a suit, and they're like, yeah, that's Frankie Valli. He's still alive.
Also, you make bank, and you live in a casino for free, and you probably just get to eat fucking room service for free every single meal. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily want to do that right now in my life, but like when I'm 80, that sounds badass.
Yeah, they're gonna want our band in the casino at 80.
Oh, for sure. I want to do the Elvis thing where I just get like
fucking
really fat and just
suitcase full of downers, like peanut. What was his thing? Peanut butter, bacon.
There's a I read a story. So he had like multiple private jets, and his favorite.
You hear that, guys? He's worse than T Swift in terms of the
multiple.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the fuel economy there.
Yeah, his favorite sandwich is called like. It's called like the Gold Rush sandwich or something.
Yeah.
And what it was like an entire like full size Italian baguette. So like this long, like a full size one.
Slice that sucker down.
Yeah. Slice down, peanut butter, bacon, bananas and jelly, I think.
Hell yeah.
Something like that.
Say, buddy, I got an interesting request for you here.
But they served it They served it at a restaurant in Denver.
Hell yeah.
And there was like a story about him like multiple times waking up at like 2 a.m. and getting on his private jet and flying to Denver, and his manager like waking up the dude who owns the restaurant to make them the sandwich.
Wow.
Just to do that.
That is insane. The level
Pure insanity.
The level at which, like, I mean, he really is as everybody knows, some may even know by the means of via Austin Butler. But that Elvis, I haven't even seen the movie, but Elvis was really that archetype, and no one could understand that level of fame of like flying your private jet to have someone make you a fucking PB&J at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like that didn't exist. So Elvis was like, I can just do this.
I can
just hop on the plane.
That's true. It takes
just
elevating a poor person to really figure out what you can do with money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like he's just like,
Yeah, pluck some guy from Tupelo, Mississippi, and you're like,
Yeah.
here's a private jet and a
here's-
suitcase full of drugs.
Did you guys watch that Elvis movie?
I tried. I couldn't
did.
finish it. I was like,
Interesting.
the intro was just like, there was like just Tom Hanks like, what was what was this thing?
Well, I'm not the bad guy.
Oh yeah, Tom Hanks. His accent in that movie was so.
and it was just like
wild.
slot
so-
machines and like a weird dying
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. I was like, what
pretty
the fuck?
crazy intro.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
honestly, I was
People
like,
say
not,
I killed Elvis, but I didn't kill him. He's all star in that one.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure it's a fine movie, but I just
Yeah.
like I saw that part and I was just like in a zone where I was like, wow.
I like the way it was filmed. It was kind of like Great Gatsby a little bit. Like
It was the same director, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it
Boz-
actually?
Yeah, it was Boz Lerman.
God damn, that makes a lot of sense.
It's a lure jaunt.
Yeah, I think
It's so funny.
the one thing, and I like some of his movies, how he like his thing that he always does is bring in like modern music and like modern things into like timepieces, but I didn't like it for the Elvis specifically because it's
You didn't like the Doja, bro?
yeah, well, it's like you know,
was in that
like the
movie?
Great Gatsby
Feels
is
like a
like
song.
yeah, like the Great Gatsby is like
Fergie has.
it's like a fictional story, even though it like takes place in like a real time. So
Yeah.
it's like it's understandable, but like if you're doing a movie on Elvis and like there's like this part where he's like in Memphis and he's walking down the street and he's going to see like BB King,
Yeah.
and then like a Doja Cat song plays. I'm like, you literally like you have like this, and nothing against Doja Cat, but like you have
It's
this
BB King.
yeah, you have like this music that like it's real musicians that you're like making the story on. Like, why aren't you playing their music? You know, I think that kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Do you think maybe it was just trying to appeal to the audience of today's time?
100,000%.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
Doja Cat's in
Yeah.
this part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's a ticket seller right there. It's nothing more
Oh my
to do.
God, I heard Doja Cat has a song. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's a
exactly.
sign of
Just
being
the hot
slightly
one.
out of touch with what people want. Like that's how I looked at the Elvis movie, because I feel like while we were growing up, we got a lot of these biopics, and like they all got very lukewarm reception after Walk the Line. Like Walk the Line
Yeah.
got really high reception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was This Is It, the Michael Jackson one, and like,
That was a biopic?
well, it was like like, it wasn't the same style as
I
Walk
never
the
saw
Line.
it, but I didn't know it was like
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there was like the
Michael
Ray Charles
Jackson?
one too. And like,
yeah.
Jimi Hendrix one where they had no license to like all
Yeah,
the
they didn't have
songs.
any-
I think
It was
This
just
Is It
Andre
was-
3000 playing like Beatles songs.
Damn, I haven't
Yeah.
even seen the
I think
Jimi
This
Hendrix
Is It was
one.
footage from Michael's career, but I
Oh,
just
okay,
mean like
yeah.
big celebrity documentation film of this like magnanimous personality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. I feel like Elvis is one of the people who's on that level where it warrants that
Right.
type of treatment. But people, I feel like, have been off it for a while, and I feel like the Queen one was really mixed. too.
Yeah,
The
Bohemian
Rocket- or-
Rhapsody.
yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
People,
That one, man.
you saw some people who thought of it as like a Marvel movie about real people, and then you had other people who saw it as like a Marvel movie about real people. And
It was a
I haven't seen that movie yet, actually.
I haven't either. Have you seen it?
no.
Or Rocket Man, they did that one. That
The
Elton
Rocket
John
Man
one.
was after that.
But that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
Elvis one came really late in the game, and I've seen criticism after criticism about using contemporary top 40 music in these movies. Like I've seen this for a decade.
Definitely
or
won't age well. Like Doja Cat doesn't have the
That's why
legacy
it's
that
so
Elvis does.
contemporary.
Which
like
is
what's
why
it
it's
going to
such
mean
a
in
cash
2040
grab.
watching
Yeah.
a movie about a guy from 1960 listening to music
For
from
Doja
2020?
consumption, it's like they realize that people aren't going to be watching these movies for a long time because there's just so much stuff coming out.
Imagine
constantly.
watching-
You have to reach a
Yeah.
post irony phase within the Doja Cat Elvis like metasphere, where
Right.
it's like, oh, it's actually cool to watch it now because like it's
because
2120.
it sucks. It's canon.
So it's
Yeah,
it's
I
like
actually can't listen to this.
Yeah.
That's
Or
why,
like-
like, imagine a Shirley
Against my
Temple
religion.
biopic from 1983, and then Van Halen cuts in.
Well,
That would have aged.
another-
Like,
get up! She's fucking eating like chicken noodle soup.
that would have.
Ooh, baby!
That would have aged. That would have aged like garbage.
I want that though, because
get,
this
like-
is the thing. This is the testament to what I was saying is we would have reached the fun value of it, where like everyone that saw it and reviewed it would be like, and then like our generation should be like, this is the best movie ever. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think Elvis falls victim to the too late in the game effect. Where
Oh,
it's just like
yeah.
people are like, because there was I can't remember the one biopic that people were shitting on for using Kanye's power, and
There
like,
was Dirt was the other one I was thinking of.
Oh, the Motley Crue
Dude,
one?
that movie
That-
sucked.
I thought it was
That-
all right.
I didn't
yeah,
like
wait,
it wasn't
I,
the-
You got- yeah,
didn't
wait,
like
wait,
it.
that might be a mind shift
I get it.
adjustment.
But
on the
also,
Motley
I
Crue.
don't like Motley Crue really. So that was.
I just thought it was just like,
Bro, what?
any movie about
Yeah.
a band like that is gonna have that like.
I feel like I just get like I don't know. Like maybe it's a hot take or something, but just
I haven't even seen it, by the way. So
Just
I don't,
the-
That's true,
I'm
no,
just saying
no,
shit.
no.
the rock and roll trope thing. I felt like that one just followed all of it, and it gets old where it's just like they were young,
They're doing
then
drugs.
then they got famous, and then the
Yeah.
babes came in, and then the drugs.
It's tough because like, how do you highlight the craziest things that happen in one movie? Because it's
Yeah.
like, if they're touring every night and doing this shit like parties and parties every night, you can't get that into a movie.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like you got two kinds
can,
of.
but it's
I
not.
feel like you got two kinds of like classic heroes story. Like it's like trying to turn these celebrities into Odysseus, right? And like, I feel like I feel like there's a spectrum of like who are you depicting? Like who's gonna be real life relatable? So you've got like Straight Outta Compton, that was like
That was one,
highly
yeah.
relatable.
Yeah.
very good.
that was
like,
that was a good one.
told
actually.
told
Actually,
a
haven't seen
story
that
that
one in time,
everybody's curious about from an angle people actually wanted to see. And then you've got like Motley Crue movie. Now I haven't seen it. I watched like YouTube video review. Like this wasn't a good
Dirt.
movie, so I could be biased
The
here.
Dirt.
But it's like I don't know, watching people get sucked up in being turned into industry plants and then being like turbocharged with like drugs and sex, and then like trying to translate it into like a relatable story about like characters you want to root for. I feel like is like a way tougher mission as a
Yeah.
director, and I'm not even sympathizing with it because they shouldn't have made it in the first place. But like, I feel like you really got to choose who the hell are you going to give this treatment to. Like with NWA, it made sense because there was like a lot of stuff that happened as a result of it. It was
Well,
at like the forefront of a movement.
If it's
There's,
any
like,
consolation,
interesting
the
more
Dirt.
grassroots.
If there's any consolation, the Dirt was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
It was purely for just like
More
clicks.
argument to the it shouldn't have existed though.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
Well, the thing with the Elvis movie is that he was getting pushed back on a lot of because I remember taking a American music history class in college, and a big part of it was like Elvis, and specifically in a few of the other artists, specifically white artists in that era who kind of blew up and took a lot of music from black musicians. And in the movie, did you see it? You
Yeah.
said you saw it? Like, he kind of like, it was a weird transaction as far as like paying homage. They painted it as he was paying homage
Right.
to his
Yeah.
roots of like growing up in a predominantly black area, which
yeah,
yeah.
seemed pretty dramatized. I don't know if that was actually how
I mean, from like what I've like heard about and like read about Elvis, which is like not a ton. I think there's like some truth to that, and I did like that they like tried to touch on it, but it did feel like a little clunky too. It was kind of like
it was clunky. It's
Yeah,
kinda, like,
I-
rolled right over. And we're
Yeah.
like, wait,
when he's such
Yeah.
a
but
vast
you're
figure.
still taking all this their music and
yeah,
using
Yeah.
it, like Hound Dog, for example.
yeah,
Hang on by
big
Hound-
hit.
That
Yeah.
he like went back to his roots. I think in the scene where he goes back and he meets BB King,
yeah, I think
and
so.
he like starts remembering or something about Hound Dog playing back in his childhood, and then he like manifested it out.
I want to do
into-
this song. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make Hound Dog.
There ain't nothing but a hound. That's such a powerful line, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't nothing but
Imagine hearing that in the 50s or
people
whatever
were
it
literally
was.
pissing themselves and like freaking
Yeah.
out. Like man, like the Beatles, like damn, what is like, they had to get fucking drains or something for like the Beatles concerts. They were like, oh, they're pissing too much, they're screaming too much. Like there's, people didn't have anything to
didn't hear
do.
about that.
I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but like they didn't have anything to do. Like it was just like you go
Yeah.
to the crazy rock concert, you get your mind blown, into pieces
Well,
because there's
also,
no
you
TikTok,
just never
YouTube.
seen anything like that.
Yeah,
either.
like, you're just
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
I think of it like with like, I mean, like you think of like a band like Black Sabbath or something. Like their music is very much proto like heavy metal. Like they're kind of like, you know, the Godfather or whatever of that genre. And like all of a sudden you're wanting to see what's the band? I don't know, any like prog rock band. I think it was like a Fiddle Guy.
Oh, Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull, and last minute the house band Black Sabbath is like, oh, like your guy quit out, we'll open, and then they come on stage with their Marshall Stacks and their drop tunings, and it's 1969, and you hear the song Black Sabbath for the first time. Like you would need a drain for me. I would need somewhere for the piss to cycle down into.
Yeah.
You'd need a catheter or something because like hearing that on record in 20, you know, like 10, like in my room when I'm like, oh my god, Black Sabbath is like really cool, like whoa, and then like, but like seeing that live and
Kinda
hearing
just
those
come up.
Marshall Stacks blaring that with
From
like
nothing, you know, coming from nothing.
coming from
Yeah.
nothing, guys that are just like, this is our song. We were in a warehouse 2 hours ago, and now here's our insane, like groundbreaking sound that is just gonna tear your face off.
Same
Yeah.
shit with Nirvana too in the 90s when
Yeah, like I don't know if like
when Nirvana broke.
like I forget who it was. Like there's like a list of like who is on the I think it was like a conversation they had with Bush Vig that was like, who's on the charts right now, and it's like fucking like some country guy or some folk guy that's
Yeah.
like 70 and like some pop singer and whoever.
Yeah,
I think
Imagine Dragons
I think they
6 times.
famously. Are you talking about right now, or are you talking about back then?
back then when they like booted someone
yeah,
off the charts.
I think they famously booted Michael Jackson off.
I was gonna. That was the one in my head.
And there was a
Wasn't-
couple,
was
and
it
but there was
Michael
like
Jackson?
it was Michael Jackson
Yeah.
maybe, and there was a couple from like the year before where there was like while they were like like making and creating and conceiving.
Because,
Never
like,
mind, it was like the charts were
hair
just, like,
bands were
dead.
starting to come out of fashion towards
Yeah.
like the 90s for sure, and
yeah,
people were kind of sick of that. The people wearing the dudes like wearing makeup and just kind of being this extravagant show with huge hair and like unlike
Lot of front
regular
kicks.
people. But then in the
Yeah.
90s, Nirvana was just like regular kids, just dirty and
Just screaming.
themselves, and it was like whoa,
Yeah,
it's
I
complete opposite.
I don't know if this is where this is heading, but I do see culture swinging back around to the more grassroots, like paradigm, like in the coming future as well. I feel like it goes on a cycle, you know, where it's like things go from being like really high production, really high intention, really safe,
Yeah,
to breaking back down into being like really chaotic, really grassroots, really random.
I feel like people crave that nowadays.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel
But
like,
the internet is
I feel
really
like we're
a
coming back on that side of
potent
the
thing.
because we just had the because again, weird take from a guy who likes to scream around on stage and hit his instrument with his fists, but I feel like late 2000s, early 2010s was like this kind of unparalleled era for pop music where it's just like straight real life bestseller after straight real life bestseller from like dozens of artists, like massive production, massive money, massive industry.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the zenith of a cycle, like right there, like your Lady Gaga, your Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, your Rihanna.
Yeah, that was
your-
such an
your
Bruno
Grande.
Mars.
Like, that shit was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up through like a time we consider that to be like that's going
Macklemore,
that's going
Yeah.
on that's going
coming
on
back.
during
The
everyone's
shuffle.
upbringing, but like that's not. I don't think that's the case. Like I think we did grow up at like a zenith of a pop era. Like
yeah. I mean,
LMFAO, Lumineers.
Yeah.
It was like started by like your
303.
Britney Spears's and like people
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Beyonce,
Maroon 5
Christina
is
Aguilera,
such
Yeah.
even
But
Destiny's
now
Child.
who is
Yeah.
it? Like these days.
That's what I'm
in
saying. It's
20
like there's
like-
there's an oversaturation, right? It's getting
bottoming out.
Yeah,
like
it's
in
bottoming out.
2013, you could pinpoint certain artists
on
who
top.
were big, but
Yeah.
now it's like, who the fuck is it?
And that paves the way for a more grassroots scene,
Yeah.
more
I mean,
DIY, because now the playing
everything
field
just
is more level.
And I
Yeah.
think a
nobody
great,
knows where to
because
look.
everyone can do
Right.
different routes of it.
Everyone's
routes
heads are
to,
pointed in different
like,
directions.
Yeah.
to get to that point.
and a good
And you have
factor
Doja
in-
Cat who's like, I'm going to do a hardcore punk, or not Doja Cat. Which pop star
Well,
was
like-
like, I'm going to do a hardcore punk album recently? I'm so out of touch. I'm a
I know
fuddy-duddy.
Lil Yachty did
Oh,
like a
was
psych
it-
album.
Yeah.
Alexia Rodriguez.
No, there's a famous like girl boss rapper right now who's like, I'm doing a hardcore punk album. as my next-"
Turnstile.
No, it's like it's like a Doja Cat. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna jammy myself here.
Got him.
And,
But
Ariana Grande.
regardless, like I think it really, trends are always cyclical, but like like the 90s and with that whole like breaking punk thing with like all these like bands elevating, like I think the bands that even like, it might be a bit redundant in a way, repetitive, but I feel like
No, it is Doja Cat.
yeah.
Oh,
Doja Cat claims she wants to write a hardcore punk album. It's a claim.
Post-Elvis
But what I mean
movie.
is like nobody knows where to look. We're in another 90s
Yeah.
cycle where you have Run DMC, Aerosmith potential. Like I
Honestly,
feel like
True.
I feel like we could see a 90s Wild West through the 2020s again, and I really hope being a Wild West band.
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
upfront about that. It's a bias uptake, but I
DIY,
just
yeah.
I just see
Yeah.
so much different stuff every day trending. And it's like 'cause
Exactly,
when we
that's
grew
what
up
I
it was
was
so
gonna say.
homogenized.
everything is there. Like you could get so many things viral at one point now, whereas back in the day it was like
Well, and the best shit was
everything people talked about.
honest to God, the 70s was just like all of these
Insane.
just cigar chuffers that wanted to make money and they didn't care, and they would bring damn Frank Zappa in the room and be like, yeah, make like 50 records, kid.
Well,
you
it's
know,
like
and-
50s Hollywood, you know?
yeah, it's just like a Wild West of just like they didn't care. They're giving like these grants and all this money to bands like King Crimson and like all these hyper experimental bands that like nowadays like kids are making this in their bedroom, but like
Exactly.
back then was like a really really insanely
because they were
revolutionary
selling
thing.
physical records too.
Yeah,
you know?
and they're
Also,
like,
yeah.
we don't get
There's
it, but
so
it's
much
selling
more money.
Yeah. Oh, it's
back
because it was
then.
like it was basically like movies being born was like rock music in the
gold
70s.
rush.
It
Well,
was just a
yeah.
gold rush of just like, well, we don't care, so we're just gonna sign this stupid band that makes like this thing they're calling
people
noise
are
rock.
going to listen to it because
Yeah.
it's so concentrated of what's
Yeah.
available for people.
Well, I feel like the biggest
Yeah.
revolution too that I think I think it's the biggest revolution for like the 70s, 60s, 70s wave was the fidelity of at-home listening technology. Like all of a sudden
Right.
went insane. Like 40s, 50s, you've got like box radio and square like Thunderbird green TV with no fidelity on the speakers.
Yeah.
It transmits like feedback,
Yeah.
white noise, and high-pitched treble sounds.
Yeah,
And
or you got
that's
like
it.
jazz speakers or
Like-
something.
Like the bass as an instrument, which was from, and, this is a bass guy history moment, but the bass went from being
So clip that chat.
chat.
Add it to the bass guy playlist.
no one cares. No, I'm just kidding.
People say nowadays that a band is a drummer plus anything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It used to be an ensemble as a bass plus anything, whether it was a jazz band or a wind ensemble or an orchestral quartet or anything. You had a cello / bass, low end,
Low.
always. You
Yep.
know, 30s, 40s, 50s recording technology, no bass, period. And it almost like
Gotcha.
died as an instrument.
They like
because there was
couldn't pick it up, and
yeah.
we were actually talking about
Yeah,
this
we were
recently
talking
too,
about
where
this.
like I was listening to like a podcast on like country music in the 50s, and one thing that they used to do is they would have to put these. They used to stand up bass, and depending on the key of the song, they would have to put the mic in different areas of the room because it would only pick up some notes depending on where the mic was, and if it, depending on what key it was, they just wanted to pick up the important notes. And even at that point, it would still sound like so mushy that they would take a baritone guitar and like play the notes over it and double it. And that's
Cool.
what kind of gives it like the 50s like a ding 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 sound, because it's
shit.
like
Overdub.
it yeah, because like it wouldn't cut through because they just
Rub-a-dub.
didn't have the
Rub-a-dub.
they didn't have the like the
Scrub-a-dub.
tech to cut through. So like in the 70s, all of a sudden you have like better home stereo stuff, and then you also have better recording equipment, so you can actually like you can capture someone playing bass and like actually like hitting intricate notes and
Yeah.
So
chords.
it was like a two-pronged thing because the 50s and 60s paved the way for the guitar revolution, right?
Right.
Because the guitar was
The
like
electric
it
guitar.
was a background instrument. I mean, it was a straight accompaniment piece. Electric guitars weren't super in vogue. A lot of it was either nylon string or acoustic guitar finger style, and you were either seeing a guitar played like as a viola or cello in like a classical
Right.
quartet,
Yeah, yeah.
or you would see it on stage and you wouldn't really hear it, but
Yeah,
the
they-
rhythmic strumming would be to keep time for the other musicians, which is what like a lot of like old guitar style, like earliest jazz, like big band guitar, like early band guitar.
Yeah.
It's just like that straight.
Well, I think our power just went out.
Hopefully you didn't slip and hit his head.
breakers are.
That was a storm.
such a deep conversation. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
Wait, but why do we have techno?
Dude, the video's gonna be so funny of us just like just
cut
just power out.
It really feels like
Wait, let me
Wait,
check to
are
see
you
the
alien?
video. So go ahead.
yeah, you're alien.
Okay. Do you not hear Alien, Parker?
We don't have ring light, which means we're not actually on a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Kaboom.
All right.
Here.
That
was kinda crazy.
Zero res.
Let's just take a moment of just what happened.
Do you have a chorus effect turned on the mics?
I don't know, but I like it
there?
a lot.
Yeah, it's
Did
cool.
you hear it?
It
might be the playback.
One baby, two and all.
I don't know what's going on.
me for you.
I think maybe the master track is like you can hear yourself a little bit better.
It's just like
Yeah.
it feels like there's three
It's
of
the
me.
playback.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
hear-
maybe this
hear-
is how it was always supposed to sound.
Oh.
But
Are you serious?
we had instead of it
So
coming.
we're
I
just
don't
gonna.
know.
so
This
they're
is
not
what
gonna
everyone
hear
hears
that.
when they're talking on here.
Yeah.
This is what you sound. Oh,
I
it sounds
feel
so
like an
loud.
alien. Check.
Alien.
A
Check.
limiter
Oh.
on here, but
Okay.
wow, I
Well,
think this is how it's supposed to sound. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Tight.
I'm,
Alright, let's-
I'm still figuring this
Let's talk
whole
for another
podcast
3
thing.
hours and make sure we got enough ground to cover.
Oh no! Everything is
No, I know.
saved.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, we
Nice.
lost that whole podcast, boys.
Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
so hey guys, we're the Beatles, and this is our podcast.
Yeah, right.
We're sorry for being
What
the
were we
Beatles.
even
don't-
talking about? Okay, so like the recording of the 50s and the 60s.
Oh yeah, so I was saying like guitar moving from a background instrument to a foreground instrument
yeah.
because it was like if you're
That
at
is kinda
if you're at the
nice,
big
right?
band, right, and you've got a brass section of 15 people and a piano and a stand-up bass, that like acoustic guitar doesn't exist, right? You know, you're not going to hear it as an audience member. So you didn't. It's weird. You just didn't see the same competitive attitude with guitar. You know, you had like
There was no EVH.
yeah, you had a few people shredding. Like Les Paul was a shredder, right?
I was gonna say
And
Les Paul was the
he was like
Luke Ray.
early
he
in the
create
game.
Link
did
Ray.
he create
Yeah,
the
Luke
electric
Ray, Link
guitar?
Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
The
like
solid
the
body.
consumer, the one that people had.
Electric.
Yep. Okay, I'm
people.
gonna fix my clock because it keeps blinking because the power went out. It's bothering me.
Oh damn.
It's distracting.
Guys, we got to be more engaging.
More engage. Engage.
People like Lost Media and Nostalgia and Icebergs these days. So maybe we could start doing this in iceberg format.
The iceberg video.
Guitar iceberg level.
All right,
1.
guys, we're gonna look at level 1 of the guitar iceberg. First, here you got the Fender Stratocaster. You know, pretty basic, guys.
Gibson Les Paul.
I'm gonna grab it up right up from out of the package here. From first notice, it's pretty good packaging.
If you may have heard
Pretty
the
standard.
1958
Pretty
recording
standard.
of Rumble by Link Ray, he
Cla-
actually
classic-
punctured his
classic-
guitar speaker to achieve the distorted sound. and
Classic
it was
vacuum
the first
seal.
ever recorded distorted guitar
That reminds
sound.
me of Burger King foot lettuce.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for.
Burger
Number
King foot
15.
lettuce.
But yeah, I don't know. Just Mike's not being able to pick up bass put guitar in a pretty prime position to be the primary string accompaniment, you know, for
Gotcha.
bands.
Interesting.
And I feel like that was what, and this may be personal opinion, but I feel like that largely contributed to people starting to go way harder on guitar than they'd ever gone before. You know, because there was all of a sudden way more work for a guitarist.
And it's so interesting how it developed because the guitar just seems such like
It does also
Almost-
a songwriter's tool.
You know,
it's the
like,
most
there's either
songwriter instrument,
piano
like, ever,
or guitar.
ever.
But it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
always like it is now
You
because
know?
people know it is, and there's like a culture developed around it. But
Yeah, but like, how old is the oldest guitar-like instrument as opposed to the oldest bass-like one? Like, it's pretty.
right. And,
Oh
and
well,
say
well,
like
I mean,
what
there's
if,
a,
what
there's a
if
separate like the like lutes and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
they covered a really broad range of tones, and
Yeah.
they would sort of bottom out down in the low cello range,
Right.
and then go up to like the mid violin range.
Yeah.
and there wasn't really a separation of treble and bass stringed
Yeah.
instruments until the 17th. 18th
the guitar is
century.
just such a good mix of everything.
Yeah,
and
'cause
as
the
far
gu-
as
'cause the
middle
guitar-
ground.
Yeah, because I guess if you go to like ancient guitar, you got like the traveling minstrel type guys, right? But you didn't. but I'm just talking about in recorded music, you know, because in popular American music, and I guess I don't know much about English music in the 1920s, but you know,
Jazz.
that was what like really
Cronies.
blew up like popularly, and you know, was with the radio revolution and records and dance halls and you know, swing dancing and all
Big
that.
band shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Interesting.
you know, that was where bass, like I was saying, found its dominance. You know,
Yeah.
through the 19th and early 20th century was like during that era, because
Yeah.
the bass didn't even exist before the end of the 1600s.
Right.
The
you know?
bass gets people moving.
Yeah, but but I said, you know, I was saying it almost fell out of usage basically, you know, for a while, and it wasn't until the recording, you know, technology revolution that it picked back up. But I was just saying that paved the way for the guitarist revolution, I think, and that paved the way for prog rock and metal and psychedelic rock and the Beatles, and all of that was all this high fidelity recording technology that existed out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you could suddenly put whatever instrument you wanted in the mix, you know, whereas before, if you listen to old music, you know, brass sounds terrible. You know, all you're really left with is like,
I mean, even like mic'd up drum kits with like 2 drums.
right, it's like
they're
piano
just
and
like-
guitar is all you're left with through the whole 50s, basically. Like those, and then like a tiny kit with 3 pieces,
Yeah.
and then like just boom, boom.
It's kind of like Violent Femmes. I just think of the simplicity of that.
Yeah,
Just a
Yeah.
snare.
that's
and-
all the technology could handle. You know, that's all they could work with. Because music was crazier before that. Like you look at like classical and romantic music, and you look at like Roaring Twenties.
Wasn't a lot of that music recorded in, was it mono?
Oh yeah,
or
for sure.
just
On
like-
like
Yeah.
wax cones.
It's interesting when you listen back in headphones to the older music and you hear like the snare only on the right.
Well, it's funny
side,
because
and
even like
it's just
like
so weird.
recorded music, when it was initially, you know, you had these like dense wax cones that it's like transcribed onto, like it's like a record on like a phonograph,
right.
and like
Just getting
that was like
the
a-
sound waves out.
yeah, just
Yeah.
by any means, and even that was like enough to get people in hysterics, and like there was people that were like screaming at the roofs, like, well, that's the end of times. Like music
Yeah,
is being
see-
recorded now.
Wow.
So you saw, like,
It's over.
You saw the
Wow.
revolution
Right.
in that sort of Wild West area of early recorded music, of instruments that like again prior to that weren't really on the foreground. Like they were, but they weren't. Like you saw a lot of you saw a resurgence of solo fiddle music in early recorded music a lot.
Yep.
Like bluegrass and classical, but like solo classical, you had like a ton of soloists in the 20th century, and like trumpet like really hit its
What was
stride.
it like the
trumpet
8
popped off.
or the 1800s that like the first recorded sound was?
Like 1892 show
1890s?
like Thomas Edison
That
recorded
was
Chopin.
almost
Or
Yeah.
Brahms.
almost 100 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's one of
I
those.
think he recorded Brahms in like 1892.
Yeah,
It,
and, like, the
sounds like
wax
nothing.
cylinder.
It sounds
Yeah.
like
pulling it up.
Trying to get that whole mix in there,
yeah,
with
but
just one giant fucking copper cone or whatever it
I
was.
do think the confluence of factors
So
creating
this-
rock and roll music.
Oh,
Hell yeah,
this is it.
scary.
Amazing fidelity.
wait. Why is that?
It's just a-
Are we being
this is just,
jibbed right now?
This is just an intro.
Is this just the intro?
Just, I would say skip a few seconds. Yep.
I think only we can hear this.
Nightmare.
Bro, I love The Caretaker.
Yeah.
Wow. So how are they able to make this digitize? Is my question. Like,
Bro,
what do
I
they
think
record
about
it
this-
onto?
I lay awake at night.
They
and I
must
think
have
about
recorded
that.
the waves and then just somehow been able to transcribe.
I mean, it's just
it.
the same way
a
vinyl works.
It's a carving, right? Like with
exactly.
vinyl, they're
Yeah.
using a needle to carve the frequency. So you got two
Crazy.
sides, and the
Yeah.
two different
That was
sides have
wild.
two waves, and somehow when you layer the two different groove patterns, it creates a bunch of different instruments. Like if you just listen to one side of the groove of a record or the other, it's like gonna sound like the equivalent of like taking one of the colors out of like a print publication. You know,
Right.
It's like magenta.
Do you guys
cyan,
listen
yellow.
to vinyl a lot?
Yeah.
Not as much
You do?
anymore because I don't
Yeah,
have it set
yeah.
up right now, but I have a
I
big
collected
vinyl.
it, you know, here
You're
and
a
there.
collector.
I got a big
Yeah.
collection.
That's sweet.
There's like moments where I'm like really into it and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for this and I'm getting that. And there's sometimes where
Yeah.
I'm like, I just can't even afford to like be into my vinyl hobby right now. But, you know, I'll peruse stores here and there. If I like see something that piques my interest, I'll snag it. Or if there's like a interesting repressing, I'll snag it kind of thing.
Right.
But lately,
Special
actually,
edition. They're expensive.
yeah, and I used to
Yeah.
live with like a house full of vinyl collectors, in which
Oh,
I would
okay.
like. I was way more, you know, like
Your family was into it.
not even family, but just like just like roommates. Like when we lived in our old house, so we had like 2 other roommates who were also vinyl collectors. So we had like a 4-person giant collection. We lived
Gotcha.
together, and we lived close to record stores, so we would walk to them a lot and do that. But and I still collect them, you know, with my girlfriend here and there. But like, yeah, it's really just like a financial thing where it's like, am I going to be a vinyl guy this
Yeah.
month
Like
or
This
not?
month,
And
yeah.
Lately, it hasn't been that.
Especially like when we would go to the record store with Graham. You know, he's the biggest vinyl collector I've probably met, and like there was I always did feel that like it'd be like going to someone else's Christmas and watching them open up presents and having no presents to open up is like what going to the record store with somebody who's got the intention of buying a bunch of records and you're buying none.
You're right.
Like I would always snag like at least 2 records every time I'd go out, even if I had no business buying records.
Look, I got shit too.
Yeah. Which that's a cool
That's
experience
okay.
because I've never been surrounded by anyone who really is deep into records.
Oh, yeah?
And I've always, every time I'm around a record player, I'm like, God damn, this sounds so good. And it's fun to listen through. I don't listen through albums as much as I'd probably want to, but
Right.
it kind of forces you to listen to
Yeah.
the
It's a
whole
good
piece.
incentive.
See,
to
and that's-
listen
I
to the
think
whole
that's
project.
Kind of the way I like collect, and I mean, I like listen. I feel like I am like a an album person. Like with these guys, for example, who I like, you know, probably share the most like music with. I'm not just being like, yo, this one band has this one good song. Like I'm usually like, this album rips, and I'm just
Right,
like, you
yeah,
know, I'm
it's
just kind of
gotta-
setting it over. Like
it's gotta-
this whole thing's
Listen to the
good.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I won't pass
Whole
it along
piece.
unless it's worth an hour of someone's time, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what determines the vinyl purchase too.
Yeah,
you know? It's
that's,
like,
what,
'cause,
that's
like,
what I was saying. Yeah,
and that's the other thing too is it's like playing Pokemon or like I don't know, playing poker or something where you get that lucky find in the record store where you may not have even been specifically looking for the record, you know, but you see this and you're like, dude, they got this.
Yeah,
And then you just
exactly.
like feel like an idiot if you don't snag on the spot.
pretty much, and that's why it can be
Yeah.
deadly too, because you don't know when you're gonna find that like, you know, insane pick where you're like, I did not think I was gonna come across.
It's
this
deeper.
today.
It's kind of
It's
Yeah.
so good. It's like
almost,
yeah,
you know?
because it's like something that means a lot to you is now in your hands. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like a head ass for saying this, but like in a special format, you know, like having the 12,
Yeah, the
like
physical
having the
is-
14
it's
by
like
14
art.
or whatever.
Lyrics
Like
all over
special.
there.
It's big.
Yeah.
They oftentimes come with posters
It's
or
more
lyric
physical
sheets.
I really
you
like
know?
that, and we tried to kind of like encapsulate that in a way, like at least on
And
like
no,
a
we
smaller level
really
with,
try
like,
for
our-
no filler songs.
Well, I just mean like with our packaging, even
Oh.
in terms of the vinyl. Like it's just like I wanted to put like a little like written like typewriter
Right.
font thing in there. Like I like
Exactly.
packaging, and I like having that special thing where like you open something, you're like, oh, they like really give a shit.
I think
like,
deep,
you know, like,
Yeah.
this is-
deep down for
good.
anything, kind of like a human interaction, that
Yeah.
goes way deeper than you can find on Spotify.
Yeah, no, well, and like for
Yeah.
us, like guys like us, where we're like, at least I can speak totally for myself. I know, and I know these guys are the same as like when you like find something you really love, like on Spotify, I can't look up, oh, who's the drummer on this piece, or like who played bass on this album. Like this is a band that I know got around and
Right.
like had this like with the vinyl, it's in the gatefold. You find
Right.
out the story of why the guy got kicked out damn near. Like there's so much detail in
If
like
only
the whole thing.
Spotify could incorporate that.
I know,
Well, they
because
do,
it's
but
so
you have
good.
to like press into it. It's just I feel like it's coded into the experience to not be the same because
Yeah.
like Spotify will
Stream, just
frequently
keep
like
going.
put genius like articles into songs. Like if you open your Spotify while a song is playing, you can like swipe between looking at the lyrics and then also reading an article about what the artist said about the song. Like
On
Spotify,
Genius.
Yeah.
I don't want to give
Interesting.
a big corporation like Spotify like, oh, they're really good guys, like they care. But
Trust us.
what I
They're
mean is
vinyl.
like at least with their UX, model, they've tried to incorporate some of that vinylness in there, because I don't know, you've noticed they'll like, you can swipe between, like, you can choose between like a 30-second clip of the music video or the lyrics or the Genius page.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same.
And
It's
some
like,
of the lyrics
'cause,
are
like,
just
if
off
I'm
on,
on
like,
Spotify,
lists for bands.
I'm in my
It's not even
car.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it's
wrong
like
with the same name.
probably for everybody, I'm in my car, or I'm playing a video game, or I'm doing something else.
Or
like
playing a video game in my car while I'm driving.
like I've just got Spotify on
Yeah.
and the screen is locked or it's tabbed out. But with like a vinyl, it's like you usually put it on and you're just like gonna do that instead.
Yeah,
like
and you
it's
got the
even less
whole-
about the recording quality itself. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna put on this record, which means in 22 minutes I'm gonna have to flip it over, and then 17 minutes after that I'm gonna have to get the second record out and put that on, and then after a certain amount of time I have to flip that. Like, I'm gonna be engaged with the record for
Yeah.
like a
Right.
for its full runtime, and so. If I'm either going to be I'm probably either going to be just talking to one other person, like a small social gathering, right? Is usually when you pull out vinyl, or when you're like by yourself, just drinking coffee or a beer after
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And then I've got time to look at that centerfold. I've got time to pull out the poster and be like, oh, cool, I got a poster.
These guys
See,
are
I think
cool.
like just doing that
Yeah, it's a whole activity.
activity
Yeah.
is not taught, or it's not like shown to people who, like, for myself, I'm like, damn, that sounds so fun. I would love to do that in my free time now. But I've never been around somebody to do that.
Yeah.
That's
It's like,
fair.
how is that taught? It's kind of just passed down.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I
like my
grew up around
parents,
vinyl.
my parents taught it to me. They were big musicies,
Yeah.
and I was really lucky to have cool. Like, I'm gonna say, I was lucky to have like cool parents, that come with that whatever cool parents bring.
DJ mom.
Yeah, and like my dad's a big music guy, and he played a lot of guitar, and my mom was a manager of bands, and they both did a lot of stuff, and like I was lucky enough to have parents who valued vinyl and owning physical copies of music you like, and like paying attention to the little booklet that it comes with, or
Right,
whatever,
right.
But then I would meet friends like you. You figured it out on your own, more or less, I guess. You just wanted to and just did that
Yeah.
for shits. I guess same with you.
No,
Yeah.
your dad's
My dad's got some
you got
vinyl.
Yeah,
John.
he's a big
Yeah.
And then
music
like we
guy.
had Charles Arpin, his
Yeah,
his
yeah.
dad's a big old head with
God
music,
damn,
and like
yeah.
and like so when we were all living together and stuff, we just like were lucky enough. And then we had like Loudon, who did it for no reason, and
Yeah.
Graham,
Yeah.
whose parents did teach it to him despite being out of touch with that stuff. And
Yeah.
I guess it was a lot of luck. Like, I feel lucky,
Right.
and it was like
In a way, though, as you grow, you are drawn to people that,
yeah, well, having a
you're
good
meant to be
core of
drawn
friends
to.
who appreciate music as much as you do is like really important for developing music. So it's always more power to people who persevere like on their own and figure that stuff out by themselves
Yeah.
with no outside influence too. Because
Right.
like I don't know if I would be as into it as I am if I didn't have people around me the whole time who were like encouraging
Right.
it and like helping me learn more about it from the outside.
Yeah.
Honestly, even like growing up with like the digital like sifting with like YouTube recommended was like a big precursor to like vinyl, and still is something that I do today sometimes when I'm like really searching for something, because like some of the like most timeless albums I'll ever find in my life that like I found between the ages of like 15 to like 20, like my teenage years, were just like staying up way too late on YouTube and just clicking video after video in the
Right.
recommended of like bands that sounded like whatever the one video you were just on
Yeah.
sound like, and just
Yeah.
like literally
Yeah.
judging a book by its cover, like cool album cover,
Right.
test it out for 5 minutes.
Right.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't like this. Cool album cover, test it out for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this
Also-
album changed my life. And then you just, just keep going down that rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
Well,
I
that
can like
brings-
remember. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go.
I was gonna say I can remember like specific albums with that too.
Yeah.
like
The
there's
Rio Fukui.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then one I remember, like the first like really heavy album I ever listened to was Electric Wizard's Dope Smoker.
Yeah.
And the
that
cover-
was YouTube core right
Yeah,
there.
the
Dope
covers.
Throne?
Yeah, it's just fucking wizard dude ripping a bong. And
Black and white.
I remember
Cool.
I remember being like 13 on YouTube, seeing that and being like, whoa. And
is
putting
he
that on,
doing?
and just it's the fuzziest, heaviest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and we grew up in an unparalleled time for music discovery. People our age are also lucky. It's like as depersonalized and soulless as things like Spotify, YouTube recommended, and Apple Music can be.
Yeah.
You know, if it's like it goes both ways. I feel like the old vinyl culture encouraged more people on a base level to look more into the music they were listening to.
Yeah.
Because it was a bigger
Yeah.
financial commitment. It was a bigger time commitment. There was more attachment to the purchase of the media itself.
Mm-hmm.
But all that information is available to us now and more than ever before.
Yeah.
So if you have the inclination and the curiosity for it, or even just, I'm not even saying like, oh, if you didn't before, it's too late to get started. Just like at any point, if you want to learn more about the music you're listening to, you can just and get it in 1 second, you know? And that's something that, like, you know, my parents are almost like envious of. They won't say it like outwardly. They always talk about their way being the best way of perusing the record shop and then going to every single local show every week, you know, and like knowing the bands
gatefold
personally
glorifiers.
and like either roadieing for them or managing for them to get an exposure with more bands. Like they did it the flashier way. They did it the more, the dirt way. But
the crew way.
But as far as like access and getting to engage with something you love, like we live in like the primo spot where you can just like in an instant be a pseudo intellectual on, you know, your favorite thing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I am very thankful for that. Like YouTube recommended like blew my brain open like in the 2014 through 2019 era before it was all just personalized algorithm, and they would give you things that were like somewhat out of left field. You know, it's like I would just stay up till 5 a.m. every night just like going through YouTube recommended bar. Like
It's
and-
so funny y'all listen to music on YouTube.
well, that was just a wave.
yeah.
It was
I
a
never
time
did that.
period.
No, it was like a huge thing. Like,
that
'cause
was
there's-
like my SoundCloud era.
yeah. Well, like we
Well,
even
that's
like
a whole, but that's like equivalent for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Just
You
like because
know?
it's just like,
Because
you
like
don't
I'm
know where
thinking
it's
like
the
going.
rabbit
2015,
holing.
2014, 2015,
Yeah.
16.
It's the rabbit holing
Right
I'm talking
there.
about, the clicking in further and further,
Yeah.
the like seeing what's related, seeing what's similar. Same thing on SoundCloud with who follows who.
Yeah.
who's
Right,
liked what.
reposting
It's
was
just
huge.
as
huge.
accessible
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
those platforms, and it's a little more work unless you're in a playlist to do that on Spotify. Where like I will sometimes, if I find an artist and I'm like, wow, these like people rock.
Okay, daily mixes kind of go hard though.
Sometimes, but sometimes you're like, yeah, I've heard of David Bowie. I know who that is.
No,
Like,
sometimes
and,
I feel like they're talking down to me, but then like if I can get over the like, well, I do like David Bowie though.
Yeah.
And then the thing afterwards is something I like either hadn't heard in years or like haven't heard before. Like
Yeah.
again, I don't want to give a soulless corporation like Spotify credit. but-
Sounds like you're a Spotify rep at this point.
Huge
I know it
rat,
sucks because
huge
their
rat.
their payment model and their treatment of artists is terrible, and like our analytics page is like because we're a nobody band, they have no incentive to update it or keep it accurate at all either. So it's like lots of complaints with Spotify. But I just mean as far as accessing information as a music fan, like we're at a peak for being able to do that. I
Yeah.
think like you can see
But it's
everybody's little side
different though.
project.
You can see everything, everyone's thing, all their digital footprints, but you can't easily access their lyrics and their what they put physically onto
It's
like
true,
an
very
album.
depersonalized.
And it's
Yeah.
like
So just-
holding it in your hands. I feel
It is
it's-
special.
Spotify also is digital. It's not
Yeah.
even like you can't even like.
No, you can't
It's
touch
not
it.
tactile
Yeah.
and it
It's the
means
same
less.
thing
I'm
as
just
your
trying to not
weather
be
app.
all doom and gloom about it because
Yeah.
you know, like I said,
That's true. That's true.
that vinyl night where you're just doing the record is really nice and chill, and like that's just
Yup.
a great time. But when I'm trying to think positively about the situation of
That's
music we
true.
live in,
That
I'm
is
just
true.
I try to focus on the ease of access to information and the fact
Yup.
that my taste palette is so much broader as a direct result of the internet.
Right,
You know,
right.
I listen to so much music. There's
From
no way I
all
will-
over.
Yeah, and we live in Milwaukee, which is a big enough city, but like our record stores don't have the same things LA's record stores are going to have.
That's interesting.
And-
Yeah, I was more just saying that, like, I mean, like, worst case scenario, like the internet Spotify could topple, but your vinyl will still be in your living room. I agree with you completely that it is like I would not have the taste like that I might have today if I hadn't done so much digital sifting and like looking around on like Spotify and YouTube and stuff and having that like digital era to really boost it. But like, who knows what the Spotify is even going to be in 15 years or like what's going to happen with digital platforming with music. But like, yeah, you just always know that Rubber Soul by the Beatles is gonna be in your
Yeah.
turntable when you're like with a walker. You know, it's like
yeah.
I feel like it's like more it's not more forgettable, but it's like with Spotify it does, every listen seems to mean less too, whereas like
Sure, right, yeah.
a vinyl, it's like a specific thing you can like remember when you like put it on and you hear it for the first time. And
Yeah.
there's like tons of artists that I love and I listen to all the time that I found digitally, but I don't necessarily like have that personal attachment to them, just because it's the kind of thing where it's like, you know, you go through like a line of like 20 different artists all at once, you know, you're not really gonna like remember everything about it. You're gonna
Unless
remember the stuff
something
you
catches
like,
your
but
ear,
yeah,
right.
it's just, I feel like it doesn't have the staying power always. Like eventually for some stuff it does, but like overall it doesn't seem to have the staying power
And
like
then,
vinyl does.
funny enough, like
gonna grab
those
some.
albums that you might find online that do get you that way are ones, if you do get into vinyl, are like ones you snag that you're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I love this one when I was obsessed with it on YouTube, so I'm snagging it. I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks.
Still got this guy.
Yeah.
But
Go
it
to
also
the
makes it
bathroom.
intimidating to try and promote anything as well, because there's so much out there. You know,
much
it's
out
like an
Oh, no,
ocean-
that's
it's
like
a
it's-
content ocean.
It's so it's disorienting. The idea of being in like a modern band is like, or just art in general. Like I don't want to even exclude it to just bands, but like the whole playing field of the internet with like modern arts is just like so absolutely wild. Like you can't just like be like a band that just like plays your songs. Like you have to do so much stuff in
Yeah.
between.
I feel like we have no attachment to the old way of doing it, where it's like a job. Like going to a label is like applying for a job.
Yeah,
where you,
right.
like sit
Right.
down and have an interview.
Yeah, I mean it goes back to the
and
70s
they, like,
thing.
They like evaluate
Yeah.
your marketability. Like now, that has to be self-evident before you get
Right.
anything. And,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
You
it's
have to have
crazy to me that
everything in place.
yeah, the unspoken meta of like the 10,000 Instagram follower / 100,000 legitimate streams on a Spotify single, like before anyone will even look at you to leave your home region, is like crazy to me. It's like it leads to some good things in the sense that like the door is open to anyone to grind that out. Like
Right.
anybody has the opportunity, and I'm not saying it's equal because of nepotism, but the opportunity is available to everybody to grind out that metric, that unspoken metric.
Internet.
Right. But it becomes a point where it's like, I don't know, we're like a 700 follower band, and you're like a several thousand follower band, and then like looking up and then seeing that there are like 10,000 follower bands that are all also gunning for it. And then like I remember I had an experience where I met a band out from Sheboygan who's been playing around a lot. You know, Chapped Lips.
Yeah, we got a show
Yeah.
with them on Saturday.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I met those guys and I chopped it up with them
Yeah.
at a Shuby Nile Club North Warren show.
Yep.
And like super dope guys, right? And
Yeah.
like, I don't know, they just looked like cool guys. And I walked
Yeah.
up and started talking to them and they were like, oh, we're in a band. And I was like, oh,
Yep.
I'm in a band. And then their band they were like within 20 followers of our band. And they've been playing in Milwaukee for a while. And I just kind of had this weird moment where I'm like, oh, we're like at the same point in our band's career and neither of us have ever heard of each other, and we're playing like around in the same scene. And then, you know, like I started like thinking about that in an order of magnitude sense and sort of a pyramid level. And, you know, it is like really trippy in the internet age to like look up or down in the music world, because you
Yeah.
look down and you see infinity 100. I hate to use the metric of follower. I just don't know what the
It's
universal
just, I think
metric
it's just
is.
starting out, you
Yeah.
know?
You see infinity bands just starting out, and then you see millions of bands at your level, and then you see hundreds of thousands of bands at the level above you, and you're just like, whoa, this is so
Right.
overwhelming. This is like a tsunami of art all the time on the
Yeah.
internet age. It's so intense.
Right. And who's to say that the people, it can be you, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's
it's
also
a grind.
inspiring,
Like
you
I
know?
said, everybody's welcome to grind it out.
Yep.
And that's what you're doing. That's what we're
Yep.
doing. You know, it's all a grind, and we're just
Oh, yeah.
grinding. But like I said, if you ever take a stop, it's like when you're like going to here's a Wisconsinite relatable experience, going to Chicago, the big city, and going to the Willis Tower and standing at the top. And like when you look out straight ahead, you like, it's like a great view, right? But then if you look straight up, there's just like nothing but infinite sky. And if you look straight down, it's like vertigo, like, whoa, I'm really high up, right?
Right.
And I feel like being at like the point of a band where you're just starting to really grind, or you're like in that mid, like mega grind set mode, is kind of that same feeling of standing at the top of a skyscraper, where it's like, you know, you've made progress. You're like, okay, like I've ground a lot, and like I can see where I'm going. But like I said, just with all the information available to us, I don't know, sometimes I can find it just like overwhelming on both sides, just the sheer magnitude of the number of people out there you know, doing the same thing.
Well, also like the weird thing too is I feel like social media, like followers and stuff, like is obviously really important, but like there's weirdly like bands that I feel like I think are big and are like nationally touring bands, and then I'll like look at their Instagram and they really don't have that many followers. And then there's bands that have a lot that I'm like, I don't really ever see them play, and I've never really heard of them. So I'm like,
metric.
you know, it's like obviously there is definitely like, you know, importance to that metric, and it like means something, but at the same time you kind of have to take it like with a grain of salt a little bit.
Oh, there's no like surefire way to measure it. I guess I just mean just when I'm just looking at like just from what you expect, right? Like you have certain expectations of your surroundings. Like you start to like, just as a person, you start to develop like, oh, this is what I come to expect from this thing or that thing. And then just like, I don't know, it was almost like the doppelganger effect, like just meeting another noise band in my city who was doing the same thing as me, that was like at the same point in their deal, like several years down the line, and we're just like meeting for the first time. Not that the interaction was probably even very important to them, but I just kind of definitely had a step back moment where I was like, damn, music is both dope and scary. Like, you know,
and there's different avenues for everyone to find their way.
Oh yeah, I wasn't like worried like, oh, I need to quit, or like I'm feeling discouraged. Like I said, it was definitely just like one of those self-awareness moments where you're just like, I'm really out here.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
and
doing
so
it.
is and everyone else is really out here
I had
too.
a
Like
s-
they're
had
having
a-
the same feeling I'm having about their experience that I'm having about mine. Like
I had a moment at the Marquette Radio Roulette when I was seeing, so the performers were Cleopatra Coes, Duane, Micah Emmerich, Bug Moment, Spider Creek, and all of just Milwaukee young artists, musicians in a bunch of different genres. And it was just so cool to be, I'm so tight with Bug Moment as you guys are. And then Duane and Micah, I went to high school with both of them and are really tight
I've been
homies of
seeing
mine. in the
Duane a lot
scene.
more on stuff
Yeah.
recently, and Micah too.
So
I've been
insane.
seeing, I've been seeing both of them a lot.
Yeah.
More recently.
Those dudes are grinding, and it's super inspiring to be like in a friend group, but like we're all kind of carving our own ways in
Right.
music. Because Micah is like alternative, kind of like, if you guys know who Breakins, or who's the big one? Alternative everything is kind of his sound, and then Duane is like rapper. I call Duane like a poet because he is so articulate. I've listened to a little bit of rap growing up, and just hearing Duane is just another. Yeah, I could go on mounds of
But you
talking
guys are all
good about him.
sort of carving different niches too.
Yeah, and
It's
just
sort of
different music genres, but also we're all just artists at the end of the day. And I had this moment at the Radio Roulette of like, damn, like I know all these people, and we're all just like doing our own thing, and we're all here together at this level right now. And it was interesting to put myself in the perspective like someone attending the shows, as like I was once at
they
the
have no
Murray
idea.
Addicts. Like
Right.
I remember seeing Honey Creek and being like, holy shit, these guys are the coolest thing. They're playing music in Milwaukee, just in a band. And I was like, that I didn't even know that was possible. And then kind of having that weird full circle moment, I was like, damn, I bet someone in the crowd right now is like, damn, these people are so cool. And I was so proud to be like, I'm friends with them, and this is just a normal thing
Like
for what
childish
we all
mysticism
do.
that just like, whoa, like that's what I was kind of like, a step back moment where you're just like, damn, like
Growth.
well, and it's just like really, it's also
Yeah.
really cool too, knowing how many shows are populated by exclusively artists, and like how everyone's like trying to support everybody in themselves. And like you go to shows because you want to support people, but you also want them to support you. And it's
Yeah.
like this whole symbiotic relationship in Milwaukee where there's like, I don't know, like I feel like of the like probably 1,000 to 3,000 people who attend a show 3 times a year.
Yeah.
In Milwaukee, 2/3 of them are probably artists
Yeah.
themselves.
I think another word to go along with like supporting other artists is just being inspired by other artists, because whenever I go to a show and it's and like we were talking before, you could go to a Milwaukee Bill and there's so many different genres, and when I go to some shows, I'm like, I'll see something that I was not expecting to see, and just
Yeah.
being so inspired in a different way just in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is really cool and special for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's I agree completely.
Everyone's doing something a little different. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Really cool.
That's why I was saying, like, why we're always looking to people who are like really grinding hard. Like I was saying earlier about getting like lost in the just musical process itself, and not really thinking about the grind quite as much. Like it's good to learn from your peers. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's like almost like being in school in a sense, where if like one of your classmates is like excelling, the teacher will usually like point to them and be like, oh yeah, they're allowed to like help other kids and grade their papers. Like if you have questions, you can ask this other kid who's getting it or whatever. It's kind of the same thing in a music scene, where I feel like it's healthy to look at bands and artists who are like experiencing success and prosperity with what they're doing. Like I feel like not getting competitive is really key. Like I don't want to talk about any doom and gloom of the Milwaukee scene, but every once in a while there's a small competitive air that will just kind of creep up for a moment or two. And it always feels really misplaced to me, because that's not what makes this scene thrive, is not competitiveness. We're not like in cities where you have big money checks being thrown at people for deals and you're able to ship them off to other countries to do big tours with bands that are already established. Competing for a position like that makes sense, but we're not doing that in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We're not competing for the label gig where you get to go on the Rock 'em Ring Pink Pop European festival tour. We're just not in that world.
Right.
So as soon as people start getting competitive or start trying to undercut people or start trying to strategize against, or even just like take a premeditated approach to any releases or anything like that, it just always feels really out of place to me. Because what seems to be the best part of Milwaukee is the fact that like people are able to like, this feels like friendly competition. Like everybody wants to do well, but nobody's particularly pitted against other people failing in a perfect world, right? Like when it's at its best. And yeah, I hope that continues to be the trend for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
I hope things don't start to get too competitive as Milwaukee's music scene grows. It grows a little bit more every year by a percent. It's like a compounding percent every year. It grows just a little bit more right now.
Right.
And I really hope the competition aspect can be staved off a few more years, at least until it makes more sense.
Yeah. And just the fact of like a bigger band pushing down little bands just to feel like they can get further ahead, I think is very,
Or tearing down their peers. that are
doesn't
at the
make
same
sense in
level.
this kind of climate with the internet and the possibilities of the different avenues you can take as
Yeah.
an artist. And it just doesn't hurt it just only hurts yourself, really.
Right. Because
you
people
know?
are going to remember the time you pushed them down more than you're going to remember the time you undercut them to get ahead.
Yeah.
You know? And like you said, with the internet, there are more avenues than playing Cactus Club to get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever people are like engaging in local political warfare with another band, I'm always like, guys, let's stay focused.
Especially
here.
in Milwaukee when
Let's
everyone
let's
knows
stay on
everyone.
point. Right.
So,
I'm just like, let's stay on task.
so
the goal is
it's like, why?
well, and tell me the goal right now
Keep the
isn't to
drama
put Milwaukee
out.
as a whole on the map. The goal isn't like the goal can't be for any one band to blow up in Milwaukee, because that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like in the
Yeah.
current state of things, I just don't see that happening for anybody. There's not enough money or eyes on the city itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like Milwaukee has to position itself as a city that people want to put eyes on before any of that stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope people behave like they have been for the most part,
Right. Right.
ourselves included.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Be nice.
You guys want to wrap this puppy up?
Yeah, it's
sure.
Yeah.
10:42.
Yeah, it is.
It's like Italian dinners in Milwaukee. We do podcasts late at night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure. I work till 5 usually, so had to get a little skate session in before this and then set up. And
Yeah, I was doing work stuff till almost 7.
what time you guys go to bed?
Never.
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever.
3 or 4 usually.
What?
I mean, I work a 9 to 5, so I kind of have to be
I do 9 to 5
And
too.
then
I
Yeah.
I'm
do
a
like
nap
12.
midnight.
I try to
Yeah.
get to 12.
Yeah, I'm
a
usually a
nap
12
master.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm like
I never nap.
yeah, I'm like a sleep
I-
from
yeah, I
4 to
can't.
8, and then go to work, and then come home and sleep from like 4 to 7, and then
Depends on how sick I am. If I
Yeah.
got a nap, like if I get like
It's not bad.
Right.
sick every winter for sure, and it's like sometimes my body just needs a nap.
I love nap. Like I took a 30-minute nap before this. Like I was like 6:12.
That's a nice minute.
Yeah, and
of
I was
nap. Have a nap.
30-minute nap. Let's go.
Flap.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Oh no.
Anything else you guys
You
want to
napping?
plug?
No, thanks for letting
Bug
us
Moment show.
Yeah, Bug Moment show,
Shuby,
come.
Bug Moment.
3/18.
March 18th.
Yeah.
Flying Toad Circus.
It's gonna be
Tickets are
nuts.
You guys got your outfits picked out?
Well, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go to the store.
something
We're-
clownish.
It's got to be. We're our job is clown. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Clown.
everyone's job is clown, but we were told our job is clown.
Sick.
It could be everybody thing.
Yeah,
but
I think everyone's some sort of
A degree
on the
of
clown genre. So
we were just told to clown.
yeah, which we can do very well. So
Yeah.
Down to clown.
Well, thanks for letting us
Cool.
talk for so long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
No.
yeah, this was fun. We
No,
got
it
to
was
do it
great to
again
talk.
sometime. Definitely trying to do podcasts like once a week, and it's like I have so many people I want to have on.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
a
many
lot of
people I want to
time.
rehab on.
That's
so,
like 15
yeah.
hours of recording plus editing a month.
Yeah, all on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I was.
That's
yeah.
a trooper up there.
Pretty good.
That's a
Yeah.
soldier.
Yep. And then it's motivating too because these take up so much storage on my phone, so I gotta edit and release the podcast before the next podcast.
Right.
True.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like my
Yeah.
deadline, and because I won't have enough space to record the next
Well,
one.
we've never done anything like this before. I had no idea how this was gonna go, so I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
At least
Like
Yeah.
keeping it pretty loose and yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Talked about
we broke the
bunch of
record for
stuff.
the most people on. I don't know if we broke
Yeah,
the
this
record
is
for
the first.
time.
Shoot.
Shuby
is
was
the
like
first-
350. So
Yeah,
I
so
don't
not
think.
quite.
I
They
don't
were
think
like,
we're.
yeah, 340s. We're at like
I don't-
323.
Yeah, we're not Shuby mode,
But
but that's
this'll
okay.
be-
That's
They're
Shuby.
lingering, huh? They're staying too long.
the first podcast with 4 people total. So
How
Yeah.
about that?
social sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be on the wiki someday.
Clip that.
we got the Guinness record.
That'll be on the wiki. Yeah. As of now, you have the wiki or the Guinness.
Yeah, the Guinness, right?
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around if you guys have stuck around for this long. And catch you next time. Check out Spoy on March 18th at the Back Room with Bug Moment and Shuby. And yeah, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Parker.
Bye.